Chapter 675. Duan Gantai flew back a few dozen feet before standing in the void and looking at Ning Cheng in disbelief. He never thought that a cultivator of the same level could fight against him. Strictly speaking, it wasn't even a direct confrontation. He made the first move, while Ning Cheng hurriedly defended. In such a comparison, it looked like they were evenly matched, but in fact, he was the one at a disadvantage. Duan Gantai's heart tightened. Where did this powerhouse come from? Although the two of them were just testing each other's moves, Duan Gantai understood it very well. Ning Cheng wasn't any weaker than him, in fact, Ning Cheng was slightly stronger than him. If he still wanted to fight, then he could only use his own finishing move. Even if he had a killer move, how could he know if the other party didn't? Duan Gantai had to admit that he was more rational than 99% of the cultivators in the world. He never fought a battle that he wasn't sure of. Even if he fought against anyone, he had to have full confidence in winning. He would only fight a battle where he knew himself and his enemy. Since he started cultivating, the only time he suffered a loss was when Ning Cheng tricked him. Even so, he still had a way to save his life. As for entering the Eternal Night domain, which was the crack between the interface and positional planes, he was different from others. Others had no choice but to enter, but he had deliberately entered. He had only one purpose. Without experiencing hardships and dangers, he couldn't hone himself into a true powerhouse. A few years ago, Ning Cheng could block his blow at the Eternal Night Public Square and even forced him to leave the Eternal Night Public Square using a secret technique. From this, he had already regarded Ning Cheng as a formidable opponent. Because of this, he wanted to kill Ning Cheng this time. However, the facts shocked him once again. Ning Cheng had not only advanced to the heaven-seated realm like him, but his strength wasn't any worse than his own. In fact, Ning Cheng was even slightly stronger than him. Brother Ning really is powerful. That blade strike just now was my most powerful move, yet Brother Ning easily blocked it. This little brother admires you, and I concede defeat. Duan Gantai put away the dark red long blade without hesitation, laughed at Ning Cheng, and spoke with cupped fists in a sincere manner. Ning Cheng tapped the long spear Dao artifact in his hand and made a frightened expression. Brother Duan, your blade strike almost scared my little soul out of my body. Fortunately, I burned 1,000 years of my lifespan and half of my essence blood to barely block it. Seeing how powerful Brother Duan is, I can't help but want to seek guidance from you. Duan Gantai cursed in his heart, you look healthier than anyone else. Burning 1,000 years of your lifespan, do you think everyone else is an idiot? However, he still spoke with a straight face. Brother Ning, we are friends in times of adversity, and you and I have already brought out our unique skills. If we continue to fight, it would not be good if we end up getting injured. He, Duan Gantai, would never fight a battle that he wasn't sure of. He could even pretend to be a grandson, but he wouldn't allow himself to be dragged into such a meaningless and uncertain battle. The more he valued Ning Cheng, the more he would not casually start a fight with Ning Cheng and expose his own cards. Only when he was sure that he could kill Ning Cheng, would he take care of him in one go. Brother Duan, I'm going to criticize you. Ning Cheng's face also turned serious as he spoke. Being a cultivator is something that goes against the will of the heavens. If you are afraid of even a little bit of danger and injury, then it would be very difficult for you to progress in the future. For example, you said that you have too many permanent essence pills on you and wanted to give some to me for cultivation. I don't have any permanent essence pills on me, but how can I take your permanent essence pills for free? It's only right for me to help Brother Duan feed you some moves. While speaking, Ning Cheng's long spear Dao artifact slowly condensed celestial essence again. Apparently, he wanted to start again. Duan Gantai cursed in his heart. Not to mention that he didn't have any confidence in fighting Ning Cheng right now. Even if he did, he hoped that the fight with Ning Cheng would be postponed for a while. He came here because he had more important things to do, and not because he wanted to fight Ning Cheng to the death. If Brother Ning hadn't mentioned it, I would have forgotten about it. I still have some. Ning Cheng interrupted Duan Gantai's words, I still lack 100,000. Ning Cheng wanted to say 100,000 permanent essence pills, but he knew that Duan Gantai couldn't take it out. Ning Cheng and Duan Gantai had exchanged a few moves and understood that even if he could suppress Duan Gantai, this fellow could still escape. He knew that he couldn't kill this Duan Gantai, so he might as well extort some benefits from him first. But before he could finish, Duan Gantai interrupted him, yes, I happen to have 100,000 perpetual moon pills. By the way, I still have 5,000 permanent essence pills on me. I'll give them to you. Brother Ning and I hit it off the moment we met. These cultivation resources are nothing to me. While speaking, Duan Gantai had already taken out 2 piles of medicinal pills. Ning Cheng also cursed in his heart. This kid didn't even want to take out a storage ring. Moreover, this fellow said that he only had a few medicinal pills. Ning Cheng estimated that even if he wanted more, he wouldn't get anything. It was better than nothing. Ning Cheng waved his hand and put away Duan Gantai's medicinal pills. He then asked with a smile, Brother Duan, I missed you a lot, so I came over to see you. I didn't know if I could see you, but I didn't expect to see you. Duan Gantai clapped his hands and spoke up in surprise, I was in a good mood these days. I always felt that Brother Ning would appear in the Eternal Night domain. Sure enough, I saw Brother Ning. By the way, Brother Ning, the Eternal Night domain still has a Su clan. They cheated the 2 of us at that time. Why don't the 2 of us join forces and fight back against the Su clan? What do you think, Brother Ning? This. Ning Cheng frowned and didn't say anything. This Duan Gantai really had the same thoughts as he did. He wanted to take the opportunity to rob them. Ning Cheng didn't know how many good things the Su clan had, but Duan Gantai definitely knew about it. With Duan Gantai's craftiness, he would never tie himself up to the Su clan and become a live-in son-in-law for no reason. Maybe he had some ulterior motives and took the initiative to come to the Su clan. He might have even taken the initiative to reveal some of his things to attract the attention of the Su clan. After hesitating for a long time, Ning Cheng spoke up, I'm afraid that we aren't strong enough, and the Su clan is a bit too powerful. In case something happens, I wouldn't be able to escape. I don't have any talismans. Duan Gantai couldn't help but despise Ning Cheng in his heart. Why can't you just walk away? Last time, this father almost couldn't escape. Did you come to see me? You can't wait for me to die. Although he despised Ning Cheng in his heart, he could only go along with Ning Cheng's words. Let's set up an exit first. I'm a little proficient in array formations, so I can arrange a delay array formation. Once activated, the Eternal Night Public Square's Grand Array formation can delay for 3 to 5 breaths before it closes. 3 to 5 breaths is more than enough for you and me to leave this place. Duan Gantai had already experienced Ning Cheng's proficiency in array formations and knew that he couldn't compare to him. However, it was also normal. Ning Cheng becoming an array emperor close to becoming a grade 7 array emperor was something that not everyone could have. Then I'll have to trouble Brother Duan. In that case, I'll give up my life to help Brother Duan. Ning Cheng gritted his teeth and spoke up. Duan Gantai ignored Ning Cheng's gritted teeth and spoke up, Brother Ning, I'm the one who started this matter. I'll also be the one to arrange the delay array formation. How should we divide it? I mean, 20% of it. Ning Cheng had come to the Su clan to make a small fortune. But in fact, he had no idea what the Su clan had. Now that Duan Gantai obviously wanted a bigger share, Ning Cheng interrupted Duan Gantai's words without hesitation, Brother Duan, you and I both know what the Su clan has. The reason why I wanted to go to the Su clan was the same as you. However, I underestimated the strength of the Su clan. I agree with your distribution plan. Take out 20% and divide the rest equally. I also know about the relationship between Su Baijiao and Brother Duan. This 20%. This time, it was Duan Gantai's turn to interrupt Ning Cheng. Brother Ning, the two of us hit it off the first time we met. Since we're cooperating with each other, let's just divide it equally. Don't take out 20% and put it aside. It would save us some distance. He didn't doubt Ning Cheng's words. With Ning Cheng's craftiness, he definitely wouldn't have come to the Su clan by accident and deliberately exposed the good stuff. From this, it could be seen that Ning Cheng and he had the same purpose. Ning Cheng nodded, let's do it this way. In his heart, he couldn't have said it earlier. Duan Gantai truly didn't brag. His attainments in array formations weren't necessarily higher than Ning Cheng's, but the delay array formation he arranged didn't have any flaws. Even Ning Cheng couldn't help but admire Duan Gantai's ability. Moreover, Ning Cheng could also see that Duan Gantai didn't play any tricks when arranging the delay array formation. The two of them also had one array flag each. After entering the Eternal Night City, Duan Gantai whispered to Ning Cheng, the most powerful cultivator in the Su clan right now is only in the heaven-seated realm. Brother Ning, do we kill the Su clan first, or do we kill them first? Ning Cheng secretly despised this fellow in his heart. This fellow was truly cruel and merciless. He came to the Su clan purely to snatch the Su clan's cultivation resources. Moreover, this Duan Gantai had been the son-in-law of the Su clan for some time, yet he wanted to kill them all. The Su clan is truly cruel and merciless. Thinking back to the time when we were almost killed by the Su clan, since we're already here, we naturally have to kill them all. How about this, let's get our hands on those things first, and then destroy the Su clan. Ning Cheng looked at Duan Gantai with a smile and spoke. Once he got his hands on those things, he wouldn't be in the mood to kill the Su clan's cultivators. As for Duan Gantai, it would be best to kill them all. He didn't believe that the Su clan's eternal-level experts didn't have transfer talismans. Once they had a transfer talisman, they could teleport back at any time. If that happened, they would have to bear the consequences. Moreover, according to Duan Gantai's words, the Su clan controlled the Eternal Night City's aura-locking Grand Array. If they got locked in the Eternal Night City, who knows what would happen. Okay, let's do it this way. Those bastards from the Su clan, I can't wait to swallow their flesh and blood. If it weren't for Brother Ning wanting to take those things first, I would have definitely destroyed their entire clan first. Duan Gantai spoke with a fierce tone, as if he couldn't wait to kill everyone in the Su clan. Chapter 676. No matter how angry Duan Gantai felt, he couldn't ignore Ning Cheng at this time, unless he didn't want anything from this place. Brother Duan and I have the same thoughts. I also guessed that the Su clan's permanent essence pill pond is in the front yard. Ning Cheng chuckled and swept out with his spiritual consciousness. Soon, he found a defensive array formation in the front yard that was different from the surrounding ones. It was normal for the Su clan's courtyard to have a defensive array formation, but Ning Cheng could still see some unusual defensive array formations with his attainments in array formations. If Duan Gantai hadn't reminded him, Ning Cheng wouldn't have thought of it at all. But now that Duan Gantai reminded him, he immediately brought out his long spear and struck the concealed defensive array formation. When Duan Gantai saw Ning Cheng's attack position, his expression changed once again. Was his guess wrong? Did Ning Cheng also know about this place like him? In any case, under Ning Cheng's attack, the defensive array formation immediately revealed itself. Duan Gantai also rushed up and threw out a few array flags at the same time. In terms of opening array formations, he was much stronger than Ning Cheng. After throwing out a few array flags, the defensive array formation that Ning Cheng blasted out immediately revealed a gap. Ning Cheng and Duan Gantai rushed into the gap almost at the same time and arrived at a long stone road. The two didn't speak and rushed forward along the stone road. After reaching this place, rich starry sky essence chi spread out. There was no need to speak at all. In just a few breaths, Ning Cheng and Duan Gantai stopped in front of a huge permanent essence pill pond. This permanent essence pill pond exuded an incomparably rich starry sky essence chi. Duan Gantai stared at the permanent essence pill pond in front of him and murmured, "We worked so hard, yet we only obtained these permanent essence pills." Ning Cheng understood what Duan Gantai meant. The two of them had worked hard to reach this place. However, this permanent essence pill pond contained about 100,000 permanent essence pills. These permanent essence pills were spread out at the bottom of the permanent essence pill pond. Compared to the permanent essence pills Ning Cheng obtained from the spatial collapse maelstrom, it was much worse. "It's better than nothing." Ning Cheng smiled and raised his hand to grab half of the permanent essence pills. Ning Cheng didn't go back on his words and left half of it to Duan Gantai. Duan Gantai put away the other half of the permanent essence pills and said with a sigh, "Brother Ning, you really are my role model. My mentality is far inferior to yours. I will have to ask you more in the future." "Well, it's better than nothing." After that, he spoke with some indignation, "The harvest this time is too little. The Su clan still has a starry sky spiritual grass garden. Brother Ning, why don't we split up? You can go to the Su clan starry sky spirit grass garden to snatch the high-grade starry sky spirit grasses, and I'll go to the Su clan to kill them. We have to get our revenge." After Duan Gantai finished speaking, his body did not move. Ning Cheng sneered in his heart. "Duan Gantai, are you really that good? You want me to get rich while you go fight the enemy? Even if I believe that dogs don't eat shit, I still don't believe what you, Duan Gantai, say." If it weren't for Ning Cheng knowing the secrets of the permanent essence pill pond, he might have truly fallen for Duan Gantai's words. He might have even asked Duan Gantai about the location of the Su clan's starry sky spiritual grass garden. But Ning Cheng now knew that most of the permanent essence pill ponds came from a starry sky essence chi vein. As long as the starry sky essence chi vein had the help of a special array formation, it could continuously produce permanent essence pills. The permanent essence pills in this permanent essence pill pond most likely came from a starry sky essence chi vein. This starry sky essence chi vein definitely came from the bottom of the permanent essence pill pond. Since Duan Gantai asked him to leave first, it meant that he wanted to monopolize this starry sky essence chi vein. "Brother Ning, let's hurry up. Otherwise, the longer we stay here, the worse it would be," Duan Gantai urged. He didn't dare to leave first. He feared that if he left first, Ning Cheng would snatch away the starry sky essence chi vein. Ning Cheng nodded, "That's true, but there are too few permanent essence pills here." As Ning Cheng spoke, he angrily struck the top of the permanent essence pill pond with his spear. This permanent essence pill pond mainly produced permanent essence pills and had no defensive capabilities at all. Ning Cheng's spear strike blasted apart the permanent essence pill pond, revealing half of the starry sky essence chi vein. "Oh, there's a starry sky essence chi vein here. Huh, Brother Ning, it's all thanks to you this time." Seeing Ning Cheng blow out the starry sky essence chi vein, how could Duan Gantai not understand that Ning Cheng already knew about it? He couldn't continue to play dumb and quickly rushed up to pull out the starry sky essence chi vein. It was a starry sky essence chi vein with a length of 40 to 50 feet. Once Ning Cheng and Duan Gantai pulled out such a long starry sky essence chi vein, the entire Su clan immediately knew about it. Ning Cheng had already found an opportunity and directly cut off most of the starry sky essence chi vein and threw it into his ring. Starry sky essence chi veins and permanent essence pills were different. As such, as long as one didn't compare it, one wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Of course, this couldn't tell referred to other people. Duan Gantai could tell at a glance that Ning Cheng had cut off more than the one in his hand. Not waiting for Duan Gantai to speak, Ning Cheng quickly spoke up, "Brother Duan, you go seize the Su clan's starry sky spiritual medicine garden. I'll go kill the Su clan's cultivators for revenge. Before he finished speaking, Ning Cheng's figure flashed and rushed out. By this time, the Su clan's cultivators had already surrounded him. However, Ning Cheng's cultivation wasn't something the Su clan's cultivators could handle. After rushing out of the Su clan, his figure flashed a few times before he rushed out of the Eternal Night City. As for killing the Su clan's cultivators, Ning Cheng decided to leave it to Duan Gantai. The moment he extracted the Starry Sky Essence Chi vein, Ning Cheng understood that the Su clan's strength would plummet. This spiritual vein not only provided permanent essence pills for the Su clan's top-ranked cultivators, but it also provided the Starry Sky Essence Chi for the entire Su clan to cultivate. Now that the Starry Sky Essence Chi vein had been extracted, it would be strange if the Su clan could continue to prosper. Duan Gantai almost immediately followed Ning Cheng out of the Eternal Night domain. Just as Ning Cheng left the Eternal Night public square and brought out the Starry Sky Wheel, Duan Gantai also rushed out of the Eternal Night public square. Ning Cheng didn't rush to escape. But when he saw Duan Gantai coming out, he slowed down. Duan Gantai had a lot of permanent essence pills and a few dozen feet of Starry Sky Essence Chi vein. Brother Ning, I was worried about you. I didn't expect you to come out first. Duan Gantai caught up with Ning Cheng and spoke with a concerned look. Ning Cheng understood Duan Gantai's sarcasm, which meant that he ran fast. However, Ning Cheng didn't care about Duan Gantai's sarcasm. Brother Duan, how's the harvest from the Su clan's Starry Sky spiritual grass garden? Oh, don't mention it. When I saw Brother Ning rushing out, I worried that Ning Cheng would get besieged. So, I wanted to come out and help. I didn't have time to collect the Starry Sky spiritual grasses. Compared to Brother Ning's safety, what are the Starry Sky spiritual grasses? By the way, where does Brother Ning plan to go now? Duan Gantai said with a sigh. Ning Cheng had a section of the Starry Sky Essence Chi vein, which was what he desired the most. Don't look at him and Ning Cheng each having half a Starry Sky Essence Chi vein. If he put the two sections of the Starry Sky Essence Chi vein together, the effect would be several times better than half. The Starry Sky Essence Chi vein was the most important part. Once it was cut off from the middle, it would cause serious damage to one's Essence Chi. I'm going to look around and find more cultivation resources. Ning Cheng smiled. He knew that Duan Gantai wanted to snatch the Starry Sky Essence Chi vein from him. In fact, why wouldn't he want the cultivation resources on Duan Gantai? It's just that he knew that it would be difficult to snatch it. Brother Ning, I have a good deal. I wonder if you're interested. Duan Gantai showed a smile and didn't care about Ning Cheng's words. Ning Cheng spoke up with an indifferent attitude. You know that what I lack the most right now is cultivation resources. If there is a sale for cultivation resources, would naturally be interested. What kind of good deal is Brother Duan talking about? Can you tell me about it? Brother Ning must have heard about the Perpetual Moon Holy Emperor, right? In fact, the Perpetual Moon Holy Emperor was the first to name the Perpetual Moon Pill. When Duan Gantai spoke about the Perpetual Moon Holy Emperor, Ning Cheng's heart moved. He might not have heard of the others, but he had heard of the Perpetual Moon Holy Emperor. According to the legends, the Time Wilderness was the place where the Perpetual Moon Holy Emperor lived. He had obtained a lot of benefits from the Time Wilderness. Moreover, he had also comprehended Sunset's twilight in the Time Wilderness. Duan Gantai showed a smile. Although the Perpetual Moon Holy Emperor has fallen, his treasures are innumerable. I happen to know where the most precious treasure of the Perpetual Moon Holy Emperor is located. That place is called the Temple of Time. The Temple of Time requires the Perpetual Moon Time Key to open, and I happen to have obtained the Perpetual Moon Time Key. Brother Ning and I felt like old friends at first sight. If Brother Ning is willing, we can continue to cooperate. Ning Cheng felt shocked. Wasn't the Perpetual Moon Time Key on him? How come it was with Duan Gantai? And where did this Duan Gantai come from? How did he know about the Temple of Time? Brother Duan, can you show me the perpetual moon time key? Ning Cheng cupped his fists and asked. This time, he really wanted to see Duan Gantai's perpetual moon time key. Duan Gantai did not remain polite and directly took out a half-foot-long black key and said, "This is the perpetual moon time key." Duan Gantai's words suddenly stopped. The perpetual moon time key was clearly in his hand, but it gave off a buzzing sound. He had obtained the perpetual moon time key for a long time, but he had never encountered such a situation. The only possibility for such a situation was that there was also a perpetual moon time key nearby. Since there was nothing but the void around them, it meant that Ning Cheng had a perpetual moon time key on him. Brother Ning, do you also have a perpetual moon time key? Duan Gantai looked even more shocked than Ning Cheng. How could there be such a coincidence in this world? He had wanted to use the perpetual moon time key to trick Ning Cheng, but he never expected to meet someone who also had a perpetual moon time key. If he continued to deceive Ning Cheng, it would be impossible for him to have only one perpetual moon time key. Ning Cheng didn't know as much about the Temple of Time as Duan Gantai did. Therefore, he wanted to learn more about the Temple of Time from Duan Gantai. Therefore, he also took out the perpetual moon time key. Ning Cheng's perpetual moon time key was dark gray in color, and when he took it out, it gave off a buzzing sound just like Duan Gantai's perpetual moon time key. Duan Gantai, on seeing Ning Cheng really take out the perpetual moon time key, couldn't hide the surprise on his face and immediately said, "Brother Ning, it looks like the heavens want us to continue cooperating. There are a total of 3 perpetual moon time keys. As long as we find another person with a perpetual moon time key, we can open the Temple of Time." Chapter 677. How do you know that there are 3 perpetual moon time keys? Ning Cheng asked in doubt. However, he couldn't help but wonder if this fellow had obtained the inheritance of the perpetual moon Holy Emperor. Duan Gantai smiled, "I had good luck and obtained some things left behind by the perpetual moon Holy Emperor. From it, I learned that the most precious treasures of the perpetual moon Holy Emperor are in the Temple of Time, along with several laws of time-related spirit techniques. To open the Temple of Time, 3 perpetual moon time keys must appear at the same time. These 3 keys are black, gray, and white." Ning Cheng thought to himself that this fellow really had good luck. Since Duan Gantai said that he obtained something, it meant that he obtained a part of the perpetual moon Holy Emperor's inheritance. I wonder if Brother Duan can tell me where the Temple of Time is? Ning Cheng politely asked with cupped fists. Now that he needed Duan Gantai's help, he had no choice but to be polite. Duan Gantai's expression changed and he spoke up in a serious tone, "Brother Ning, we each have a key to the Temple of Time. I believe that you and I share the same thoughts, that is, we both care about the Temple of Time. In that case, let's cooperate in good faith. This cooperation is completely different from the previous cooperation with the Su clan. This time, we will put aside our prejudices and cooperate sincerely." Ning Cheng thought to himself, it would be strange if I believed Duan Gantai's sincerity. However, he spoke with the same solemn tone as Duan Gantai, "Brother Duan is right. This time, we should cooperate sincerely. When I cut off the Starry Sky Essence Chi vein, I accidentally cut off a bit too much. As for the extra Starry Sky Essence Chi vein, I will immediately return it to Brother Duan." Although Ning Cheng didn't believe that Duan Gantai would cooperate sincerely, he felt sure that Duan Gantai also cared about the Temple of Time like him. With a perpetual moon time key on him, Duan Gantai had to cooperate with him. On the other hand, if he wanted to enter the Temple of Time, he would have to cooperate with Duan Gantai. Duan Gantai chuckled, "No need for that. Since it's a cooperation, then we're best friends. What's this Starry Sky Essence Chi vein? Brother Ning, we had some small misunderstandings before. To make our cooperation more sincere, I have a proposal." "Brother Duan, please speak." Ning Cheng replied in a serious tone. Brother Ning, I have a connecting spirit silk. I believe that Brother Ning should have some understanding of connecting spirit silk, right? Duan Gantai spoke with a relaxed tone. Ning Cheng shook his head, I've never heard of it. What is this spirit thread? Although Ning Cheng said that, Ning Cheng felt shocked. This fellow was really rich. Even though he said so. As a celestial river weapon king who could refine high-grade Dao artifacts, how could Ning Cheng not know about the connecting spirit silk? Spirit thread was invisible, and even he couldn't refine it. The connecting spirit thread was invisible and formless, even ordinary divine senses could not detect it. In order to refine this kind of thing, not only did it require a powerful divine sense and a powerful artifact refining ability, but it also required extremely precious artifact refining materials. The connecting spirit silk only had one function, and that was to bind two people together invisibly. Spirit Cheng knew that he Ling, one and Spirit Cheng that the spirit and spirit. Cheng and Tian Cheng and spirit, one had the Ning the spirit, if the Holy Spirit sect master would the two people. Ling Holy Spirit Spirit Ling Tian, Spirit Holy Spirit Ling Spirit, they. Of Spirit. Ning, Chen Ning Spirit. Holy. Ning. With the Ling the Cheng with Spirit, and when we find the Temple of Time, we can remove the spirit thread. What do you think, Brother Ning? How could Ning Cheng not understand Duan Gantai's meaning? Duan Gantai was playing with fire. This fellow knew that he couldn't grab the perpetual moon time key in a short time, so he used this method to tie himself together. There were two purposes for doing this. One was to find an opportunity to kill him and take all the things on him for himself, Duan Gantai. Another purpose was to continue working together to reach the Temple of Time in case he couldn't kill Ning Cheng. In fact, Ning Cheng and Duan Gantai had the same idea. He was also afraid that Duan Gantai would leave. Once Duan Gantai left, where could he go to get the perpetual moon time key from Duan Gantai? Duan Gantai wanted to kill him, and he also wanted to kill Duan Gantai. Moreover, Ning Cheng felt sure that Duan Gantai had a way to remove the spirit thread without him. Ning Cheng didn't feel afraid. He could cast sunset's twilight in his starry sky sea of consciousness. Since Duan Gantai could remove the spirit thread without him, he could also remove the spirit thread without Duan Gantai. As long as he cast sunset's twilight in his sea of consciousness, he could cut off the spirit thread the moment time stopped. Ning Cheng hesitated for a while before speaking, I don't have a problem with it. But I'm afraid that if Brother Duan accidentally dies, wouldn't I never be able to remove the spirit thread again? Although it sounded like he wanted to take advantage of Duan Gantai, Ning Cheng wanted Duan Gantai to know that without Duan Gantai, Ning Cheng couldn't remove the spirit thread. Duan Gantai cursed in his heart. You're the one who accidentally dies. However, the smile on his face grew wider, how is that possible? Even if I encounter any danger, Brother Ning would never let it go. Brother Ning, rest assured. Even if you die, I will help you remove the spirit thread. In that case, it's settled. But Brother Duan, where should we leave this place? Ning Cheng smiled but didn't continue. He had already expressed his intentions. I know a place called the mysterious Yellow Starland. This starland is very far from the perpetual moon Holy Emperor's Temple of Time. But with the speed of the two of us, we can reach it in 20 years at most. Duan Gantai replied. How do we get to the mysterious Yellow Starland? Ning Cheng asked calmly. However, he felt a little strange in his heart. This name was somewhat similar to his mysterious yellow bead. Does Brother Ning know about the Eternal Night Single File Gorge? As long as we can cross the Eternal Night Single File Gorge, we can reach the mysterious Yellow Starland. Eternal Night Single File Gorge. Ning Cheng didn't expect that they would have to cross the Eternal Night Single File Gorge. Okay, let's go to the Eternal Night Single File Gorge. Brother Duan, please give me a mark for the spirit connecting silk. I'll tie it first. After knowing that they still had to go to the Eternal Night Single File Gorge, Ning Cheng immediately agreed to Duan Gantai's proposal. Great, I knew that working with Brother Ning would be the best. Duan Gantai took out a faintly discernible ring and handed it to Ning Cheng. This is one of the marks for the spirit connecting silk. As long as Brother Ning puts it around your wrist and injects a trace of your spiritual sense, the spirit connecting silk will automatically tie it. As soon as Ning Cheng received the spirit connecting silk, his spiritual consciousness swept out. This spirit connecting silk felt like it was made of air and had no weight in his hand. Ning Cheng knew that he had guessed correctly. With his starry sky sea of consciousness and spiritual consciousness blades, he didn't need to go through Duan Gantai to cut off the spirit connecting silk. Knowing that he wouldn't be affected by the spirit connecting silk, Ning Cheng didn't hesitate to put the spirit connecting silk on his wrist and inject a trace of his spiritual sense into it. Seeing Ning Cheng put on the spirit connecting silk without hesitation, Duan Gantai couldn't help but admire Ning Cheng's courage. Although this fellow surnamed Ning was cunning, he also had a bit of courage. Duan Gantai naturally wouldn't fall behind and immediately put on another mark of the spirit connecting silk. After Duan Gantai put on the spirit connecting silk, Ning Cheng immediately sensed Duan Gantai's position from him. Even Duan Gantai's movements were within his perception range. At the same time, Ning Cheng also understood that his actions were under Duan Gantai's surveillance. Brother Ning, we should work together now and try to reach the Temple of Time as soon as possible. Duan Gantai smiled and cupped his fists towards Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng also spoke up with a smile, Brother Duan is right. Let's head to the Eternal Night Single File Gorge now. Ning Cheng and Duan Gantai both cupped their fists sincerely before bringing out their flight-type weapons and heading towards the Eternal Night Single File Gorge. While Ning Cheng and Duan Gantai reached an agreement, the Su clan in the Eternal Night City turned upside down. Just as Ning Cheng guessed, he and Duan Gantai had just left when the Su clan's Eternal-level experts teleported to the Eternal Night City. All they could see was a Su clan with its starry sky essence chi vein extracted. A few months later, Ning Cheng stood in front of the Eternal Night Single File Gorge and finally understood the meaning of its name. The Eternal Night Single File Gorge, as its name suggested, had towering cliffs on both sides. When one spiritual consciousness swept out, one could only see chaotic space everywhere. Moreover, the gap between the two cliffs was only about 3 inches wide. Moreover, this distance was enough to suppress people to death, not to mention passing through this seemingly endless gap. Brother Ning, this place is a bit narrow. I don't have much confidence. If Brother Ning also doesn't have the confidence, we can find another way. Duan Gantai spoke with sincerity. Ning Cheng gave an "n" sound, I really don't have much confidence. Brother Duan can lead the way. For the Temple of Time, I'm willing to go all out. But I have an appointment with a friend, and it's not time yet. I'll send a message to my friend. Duan Gantai quickly spoke up, Brother Ning, please send it. We're in the same boat now, so I naturally won't be in a hurry. Ning Cheng felt sure that Duan Gantai had a way to pass through the Eternal Night Single File Gorge. Since Duan Gantai could pass through the Eternal Night Single File Gorge, it meant that Duan Gantai could also use his spiritual consciousness in this place. Ning Cheng had already prepared himself for this. Since Duan Gantai could pass through the wood transformation forest, then his spiritual consciousness must have reached a certain level. Song Chinghua's reply came quickly. He couldn't reach the Eternal Night Single File Gorge within a year, so he told Ning Cheng to go first. My friend can't come over for the time being. Brother Duan, please go first. Ning Cheng politely gestured with his hand. He wanted to see how Duan Gantai could pass through the Eternal Night Single File Gorge. Okay, then I'll go in first. If Brother Ning needs any help, just give me a call. After Duan Gantai finished, he didn't care about Ning Cheng behind him and directly entered the Eternal Night single-file gorge. Ning Cheng clearly saw Duan Gantai's body turn flat like a fish in an instant and quickly pass through the gap in the gorge. Soon, he disappeared from his sight. If it weren't for the connecting spirit silk, Ning Cheng wouldn't have been able to sense Duan Gantai's position. Sure enough, this fellow could use his spiritual consciousness and celestial essence. Not only could he use them, but he could also use them as if he was taking a stroll in the park. Ning Cheng felt even more wary of Duan Gantai and immediately entered the Eternal Night single-file gorge. As soon as he entered the Eternal Night single-file gorge, Ning Cheng's body turned completely soft. In just a few breaths, he disappeared from the entrance of the single-file gorge. Duan Gantai, who stood in the distance, felt Ning Cheng's position. Sure enough, this fellow surnamed Ning could not only use his spiritual consciousness and celestial essence like him, but also didn't lose out to him. Chapter 678. Duan Gantai showed a slightly proud expression. The sect is the Wuchang Dao sect, while the two clans are Moi City's Tai clan and Shui clan. They were the Interdependence Chamber of Commerce, the mysterious Yellow Chamber of Commerce, and the unaffiliated Chamber of Commerce. Moi City, just like the Eternal Night City in the Eternal Night Domain, has a high status in the entire mysterious Yellow Starland. We are now heading to Moi Starry Sky City. Brother Ning, I've been to the mysterious Yellow Starland before. The 6 most powerful forces in the mysterious Yellow Starland are called 1 sect, 2 families and 3 societies. Duan Gantai explained to Ning Cheng in detail. Ning Cheng felt sure that once spatial dislocation tore him apart, Duan Gantai would be the first to turn around and kill him. Ning Cheng's figure flashed and quickly left the spatial storm and arrived not far from Duan Gantai. Otherwise, that spatial dislocation would have taken away half my life. At that time, even if Brother Duan helped me, I don't think I would be able to go to the Temple of Time. Ning Cheng did not take out the Starry Sky will this time. Instead, he brought out a middle-grade Dao artifact airship and followed them. He had been running in the Eternal Night single-file gorge for a whole month, but he still couldn't see the end of it. Not only that, but there were also spatial blade lights and spatial storms constantly blowing around. If it were a normal place, with normal celestial essence and spiritual consciousness, one could easily avoid these blade lights and storms. If it wasn't for Duan Gantai's spiritual consciousness being able to extend further than his spiritual consciousness, then Duan Gantai must have passed through this line gorge before and knew about the location of the spatial dislocation. Ning Cheng froze. He didn't expect that none to depend on wine was produced in the mysterious Yellow Starland. However, he immediately felt pleasantly surprised. In other words, he had once again returned to the positional plane of the grand culmination Starry Sky. As long as he spent a little more time, he could return to grand culmination Starry Sky and see Luofei and Qianghua. Ning Cheng casually replied, Brother Duan is familiar with this place. Since Brother Duan is the host here, of course Brother Duan is in charge of everything. As the two spoke, Duan Gantai landed outside a huge city. The city was enveloped by the multicolored array formation, as if it was floating in the clouds. It was incomparably beautiful. Because Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness was always in a concentrated state, and could also stretch out to a distance of 100 feet, a sudden appearance of spatial dislocation was immediately caught by his spiritual consciousness. If he rushed over in his current state, he would definitely be torn in half by this spatial dislocation. Not to mention a celestial river body, even a starry sky body might not be able to block this spatial dislocation. Ning Cheng shook his head and spoke, I don't know, please enlighten me Brother Duan. Ning Cheng didn't care about Duan Gantai not telling him in advance. If he were in front of Duan Gantai, he would not have greeted Duan Gantai. What Ning Cheng cared about was why Duan Gantai could still move forward at such a high speed. Senior Water advanced to the Eternal Realm. Duan Gantai spoke up in surprise. As soon as Ning Qing slowed down, Duan Gantai gave out a sigh in his heart. This Ning Qing was definitely the most formidable opponent in his life. He had once crossed the single-line gorge, so he knew about the location of the spatial dislocation. Although Ning Qing was following behind him, even with such speed, Ning Qing still managed to avoid the spatial dislocation a moment ago. From this, one could see just how powerful Ning Qing was. Another month later, a huge starland appeared in front of Ning Qing. Compared to the eternal night domain, this starland was a true starry sky continent. The entire starland didn't have the same gray color as the eternal night domain. Instead, it had layers upon layers of green. Duan Gantai waved his hand. I didn't come out of the mysterious yellow starland. I lived in the mysterious yellow starland for a while, and I even had a relationship with Moi City's Shui clan. For some reason, the elders of the Shui clan once promised me that as long as I advanced to the heaven-seated realm, they would marry the first flower of the Shui clan, Shui Wuchang, to me. However, the premise was that I had to marry into the Shui clan. The only thing worth celebrating was that Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness could now sweep out to a range of nearly 100 feet. Although this place was dangerous, it wasn't completely useless. At least, it could help him temper his spiritual consciousness. Did Brother Duan come out of the mysterious yellow starland? Ning Cheng asked casually. He cared a lot about this answer. If Duan Gantai came out of the mysterious yellow starland, then he would have to be careful. This place was Duan Gantai's lair. It would be strange if he followed Duan Gantai. Duan Gantai heard Ning Cheng's sarcasm and gave a dry laugh. Brother Ning, let's go to the mysterious yellow starland to prepare, and then head to the Temple of Time. What do you think? Knowing that Ning Cheng had become cautious, and that the spatial dislocations no longer posed a threat to Ning Cheng, Duan Gantai decided to slow down. Okay, then I'll go with Brother Duan to see the world. Ning Cheng said with a smile. 2 months later, Ning Cheng's surroundings turned empty, and a spatial wind edge blasted over. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness also loosened up, and a large area of the void around him appeared within his spiritual consciousness. After entering the Eternal Night single-file gorge, Ning Cheng realized that the legend Song Chinhua spoke about was not just nonsense. If one couldn't use their spiritual consciousness and celestial essence in this place, one would definitely be squeezed in here. Brother Ning, since Senior Shui Guangxi has reached the Eternal Realm, I must go and congratulate him. Does Brother Ning want to come with me? I suggest that Brother Ning come with me. There shouldn't be anything wrong with this matter. Duan Gantai spoke up again. Duan Gantai chuckled and said, even if I didn't say it, as long as you reach Moi City, you would know about it immediately. In the entire mysterious yellow starland, the most famous thing is a kind of wine called none to depend on. The single-file gorge felt like a bottomless pit, with no end in sight. Although Ning Cheng could cultivate while traveling, he didn't dare to do so in this single-file gorge. Not only because he couldn't pass through the single-file gorge, but also because he had a ticking time bomb, Duan Gantai, with him. Ning Cheng's forehead was filled with black lines. Why did this surnamed Duan go around flirting with women? No, it should be more accurate to say that he went around carrying out activities as a son-in-law. Out of the single-file gorge, Ning Cheng felt happy in his heart. He had definitely left the single-file gorge. Duan Gantai's words made Ning Cheng understand that this fellow had definitely come to the mysterious yellow starland. At the same time, he felt even more wary of Duan Gantai. This fellow had clearly escaped the spatial dislocation just now, yet he didn't give him any warning in advance. Apparently, this fellow wanted to see the spatial dislocation tear him in half. If he hadn't learned from Song Chinhua that the Eternal Night single-file gorge could be used to leave, Ning Cheng would have thought that the single-file gorge was a trap set up by Duan Gantai. Another half a year passed by, but Ning Cheng still hadn't passed through the single-file gorge. Ning Cheng sighed in his heart. Unfortunately, he couldn't fully refine the starry sky wheel. If he could fully refine the starry sky wheel, he could transform the starry sky wheel into a specific shape and then control the starry sky wheel to pass through the single file gorge. However, it wasn't an ordinary place. Ning Cheng's starry sky spiritual consciousness could only spread out to about 300 feet after a month. Because of the severe suppression of his spiritual consciousness, Ning Cheng felt even more wary of Duan Gantai. Duan Gantai seemed to be more comfortable than him, which showed that this fellow's spiritual consciousness wasn't any worse than his own. In fact, it might even be stronger. Then, this little brother will lead the way. Duan Gantai smiled and brought out a high-grade Dao artifact airship before quickly flying away. Ning Cheng quickly spoke up, "I'll have to ask Brother Duan." Speaking until here, Duan Gantai deliberately stopped and asked, "Brother Ning, do you know what the most famous thing in the mysterious yellow starland is?" Ning Cheng also saw a huge flag erected on the other side of the city gate. The flag read, "Congratulations to Moi City's senior Shui Guangxi for opening the eternal path and achieving the supreme grand Dao. Fellow Taoists from all over the mysterious yellow starland will come to the Shui clan's main hall to congratulate Eternal Starry Sky Emperor Shui Guangxi. To celebrate the grand ceremony." The 3 words Moi City were written above the city gate. On one side of the city wall's array formation was a huge stone stele with 12 words engraved on it, often apart, not abandoning the heart, looking at the distant stars, not relying on each other. Facing the spatial blade lights and storms within the single file gorge, even if an ordinary heaven-seated cultivator could use their spiritual consciousness and celestial essence, they would still suffer serious injuries if they walked inside for a long time. Ning Cheng looked at Duan Gantai through the connecting spirit silk and found that he didn't look injured at all. From this, he understood that Duan Gantai wasn't a body-forging cultivator and had a way to protect himself from injury. Although he managed to avoid the spatial dislocation, Ning Cheng still broke out in a cold sweat. Fortunately, he could now release his spiritual consciousness to a range of about 100 feet, otherwise, he would have never escaped. Ning Cheng subconsciously slowed down. With his original speed, if he encountered another spatial dislocation, it would be extremely dangerous. In a hurry, Ning Cheng didn't care about anything else and forcibly twisted his body to avoid the spatial dislocation. A month later, standing on the deck of the Dao artifact airship, Ning Cheng could already see the starry sky. Although he couldn't be sure if this was the positional plane of the grand culmination starry sky, Ning Cheng knew that he had truly left the crack between positional planes and the interface. Ning Cheng nodded with a smile, but he felt disdain in his heart. "You wouldn't do such a thing because people don't know what you have on you, right?" He felt sure that Duan Gantai had some kind of treasure on him. As for what kind of treasure it was, as long as Duan Gantai didn't reveal it, no one would know about it. "Brother Ning, this is the mysterious yellow starland. It's a separate starland, separate from the other starry sky mainlands. I'll take you to get an identity card for this starland." Seeing Ning Cheng frowning, Duan Gantai quickly said, "Brother Ning, don't overthink it. The Shui clan is upright and upright, completely different from the Su clan. He would never covet the things that you and I have." Duan Gantai didn't notice Ning Cheng's expression and continued, "None to depend on wine is the premier treasure of the Interdependence Chamber of Commerce. All the none to depend on wine in the starry sky comes from the Interdependence Chamber of Commerce. However, this wine is very rare, and ordinary people can't even buy it. But if Brother Ning wants it, I can help you buy some." The mysterious yellow starland's identity jade cards were almost the same as the other starlands. As Ning Cheng expected, Duan Gantai didn't need to apply for an identity card at all and directly entered the mysterious yellow starland with Ning Cheng. "Brother Ning really makes this little brother admire you." This little brother encountered several crises along the way and almost died. But Brother Ning easily passed through the eternal night single-file gorge. Duan Gantai's voice came from a distance. He had already come out of the spatial wind blades. Chapter 679. In the Eternal Night Domain, Ning Cheng had also visited the Su clan. Now that he was standing in front of the Shui family's territory, he only had one thought in his heart. The difference between the Shui clan and the Su clan of the Eternal Night Domain was akin to the difference between a thatched cottage and the Jinmao building. Moi City Shui family, these words completely set off the momentum of the Shui family. Fusing with the Shui family's defensive array, not only was it elegant, but it was also incomparably majestic. Brother Ning, I plan to send 100,000 permanent essence pills. I wonder what you plan to send. You can't send too little, otherwise you won't be able to enter the main hall. Duan Gantai stood in front of the Shui family's entrance and whispered. Ning Cheng looked at Duan Gantai in disbelief. Brother Duan, aren't you giving too much? 100,000 permanent essence pills. Duan Gantai spoke up with a straight face, it's not much. In addition to sending 100,000 perpetual moon pills, I also intend to send at half of the starry sky essence chi vein. Which one of the Shui family's guests wasn't an overlord? If I don't give enough, I probably won't even be able to enter the main hall. Furthermore, I have some relationship with the Shui family. Ning Cheng sneered in his heart. You, Duan Gantai, are Shui clan's son-in-law, but I, Ning Cheng, am not. Although he felt disdain in his heart, he still spoke with a calm expression. Brother Duan, I am a poor man. You know that I do not have so many things to give. I intend to give you 1,000,000 perpetual moon pills. Ning Cheng might not have a lot of things, but he had a lot of perpetual moon pills. However, his perpetual moon pills did not come out of nowhere. Taking out 1,000,000 perpetual moon pills, Ning Cheng felt that it was more than enough. He had nothing to do with the Shui clan and just wanted to participate in the grand ceremony of an eternal-level Starry Sky Emperor. As for going to the main hall or not, he didn't care about it at all. Brother Ning, if you only sent 1,000,000 perpetual moon pills, maybe you wouldn't even be able to enter the Shui clan's gate. Duan Gantai felt a little speechless. Not only did this fellow surnamed Ning turn out to be extremely cunning, but he also turned out to be so stingy. It doesn't matter, then I won't go in, I'll wait for you outside. Ning Cheng spoke as if nothing had happened. He didn't believe that Duan Gantai would make a loss. Moreover, Duan Gantai must have a purpose for giving away so many things. He had no such thoughts. He himself lacked cultivation resources, so how could he give them to others? Duan Gantai frowned. Brother Ning, it's not that this little brother wants you to give gifts. It's just that we're connected by the connecting divine thread, so it's better if we're in an open space. Not to mention that there were array formations everywhere, there were also many powerful cultivators here. The shielding array formations would definitely affect the connecting spirit threads. What's more, if a powerful cultivator were to discover our connecting divine threads, they might just casually cut them off. It's not a big deal that we can't contact each other after the divine thread is severed, but it's very likely that we'll be injured by the backlash. Therefore, in Moi City, we should not be too far away from each other. After hesitating for a while, Duan Gantai carefully spoke up. Brother Ning, I do have an idea, but it would inconvenience you. Pretend to be my butler and follow me in. That way, you won't have to give me any gifts. Ning Cheng knew that Duan Gantai's words sounded nice. What butler? To put it bluntly, he just wanted to pretend to be Duan Gantai's attendant. However, he didn't care at all. He casually said, so be it. I don't care. He didn't even have enough cultivation resources for himself. Therefore, it was impossible for him to take out 100,000 permanent essence pills and half a starry sky essence chi vein as gifts. Besides, he couldn't take out 100,000 permanent essence pills. Ning Cheng and Duan Gantai had just finished discussing when two slender figures walked past in front of them. They were two female cultivators. The female cultivator on the left wore a light blue robe and didn't have a celestial wheel. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness casually swept out and suddenly felt shocked. He couldn't see through this female cultivator's cultivation. The female cultivator on the right also didn't have a celestial wheel. When Ning Cheng's gaze fell on the female cultivator on the right wearing a light blue robe, he immediately froze. This female cultivator's back looked very familiar. Ning Cheng was just about to stretch out his spiritual consciousness to check the appearance of this female cultivator in the light blue robe when a powerful spiritual consciousness pressed down on him. A burst of chest tightness filled his heart. Ning Cheng quickly retracted his spiritual consciousness and took a few steps back. Seeing Ning Cheng retreating, the spiritual consciousness didn't follow him. Ning Cheng felt secretly horrified. He knew that this spiritual consciousness came from the blue-robed female cultivator. This blue-robed female cultivator had a very powerful cultivation. Moreover, Ning Cheng felt sure that this female cultivator had a spiritual consciousness cultivation method, which was even more powerful than his own spiritual consciousness cultivation method. Duan Gantai understood at a glance that Ning Cheng had suffered a loss. He smiled from the side and said, "Brother Ning, everyone here is a powerhouse. Don't sweep out with your spiritual consciousness. Even if you see a beautiful female cultivator, don't sweep around. Otherwise, hee." As Duan Gantai spoke, he had already walked towards the Shui clan's huge gate. Seeing this, Ning Cheng could only follow. Butterfly Mountain's Duan Gantai sends a congratulatory gift of 100,000 permanent essence pills, half a starry sky essence spirit vein. Congratulations. The cultivator at the gate felt shocked by Duan Gantai's generosity. This gift was a bit too generous. If everyone gave gifts like Duan Gantai, then the Shui clan would have made a fortune. Ning Cheng couldn't help but sigh at Duan Gantai's generosity. He guessed that Duan Gantai was much richer than him. But even so, Duan Gantai was too generous. So generous that it made him wonder if this Duan Gantai in front of him was the same person he knew. The grandeur of this gift not only surprised the cultivator at the gate, but even the cultivators who gave gifts in front of him turned around and looked at Duan Gantai. "Huh, nephew Duan, it's been a few decades since we last met." A burst of laughter could be heard. But before he could finish, he exclaimed in surprise, "Nephew Duan, you've really advanced to the heaven-seated realm. Good, good. I didn't misjudge you. It looks like our Shui clan is going to have a double celebration." Ning Cheng had already seen the person who came. It was a middle-aged cultivator with a white face and looked very handsome. His cultivation was at the early stage heaven-seated realm. Duan Gantai quickly bowed and said, "Duan Gantai greets uncle. It's been a few decades, and uncle's cultivation has improved by a level." "Huh, Gantai, don't be so polite with me. We'll soon be a family. When it comes to cultivation, who can compare to nephew Gantai?" The middle-aged cultivator grabbed Duan Gantai's hand with a happy expression. Ning Cheng, on seeing this middle-aged man holding Duan Gantai's hand so enthusiastically, felt a chill in his heart. Was this the sign of good friends? Duan Gantai did not forget about Ning Cheng and quickly pointed to Ning Cheng and said, "Uncle, this is nephew's housekeeper. Steward Ning, this is my elder, Uncle Shui Kaiqiao. He's also the father of junior apprentice sister Shui Wuchang." Ning Cheng immediately understood. Shui Wuchang was the first flower of the Shui clan, and it turned out that she was Shui Caiqiao's daughter. Most likely, Shui Kaiqiao had taken a fancy to Duan Gantai and wanted to marry his daughter to Duan Gantai. Ning Cheng greets Senior Shui. Ning Cheng felt a little sick in his heart. He was also in the heaven-seated realm, and this Shui Kaiqiao was also in the heaven-seated realm. But even his cultivation wasn't as high as his. Moreover, he had to address Shui Kaiqiao as senior, which made him feel uncomfortable. Shui Kaiqiao saw the disordered celestial wheels behind Ning Cheng and estimated that he was also in the half-step heaven-seated realm. Plus, Ning Cheng was Duan Gantai's servant, so Shui Kaiqiao didn't care about it at all. He just nodded casually before speaking to Duan Gontai with enthusiasm again. Gontai, you go to the guest hall first. After the patriarch's promotion ceremony, come with me to see Wu Chang. Okay, Gontai obeys. Duan Gontai showed even more respect than a turtle's grandson. Ning Qing secretly felt speechless. Thinking back to Duan Gontai's murderous look towards the Su clan, he couldn't help but think that this Duan Gontai truly was a good actor. Under the guidance of the Shui clan's welcoming cultivator, Ning Cheng and Duan Gontai entered the Shui clan's guest hall. The guest hall was already filled with cultivators. Although these cultivators did not deliberately release their imposing auras, Ning Cheng could still feel it the moment he entered. However, he was now a heaven-seated powerhouse. Although he could feel the imposing auras, it didn't affect him in the slightest. Ning Cheng knew that those who could enter this place were all overlords. Therefore, he didn't sweep out with his spiritual consciousness. He just casually glanced around with his eyes, and when he saw the two female cultivators again, he suddenly froze. No wonder he felt a bit familiar with that female cultivator in a light blue robe. It turned out to be Tian Muan. Wasn't Tian Muan on Earth? How did she come here? What the hell was going on? Not only did she come here, but she also advanced to the celestial Shatterer realm without a celestial wheel. Wasn't this a bit too powerful? Ning Qing immediately thought of the female cultivator in a light blue robe beside Tian Muan. Tian Muan advancing to the celestial Shatterer realm definitely had something to do with this female cultivator. Tian Muan kept her head down, and no one knew what she was thinking. When Ning Qing saw her, she didn't see Ning Qing. Chapter 680. After that, he smiled and cupped his fists towards the rest of the cultivators in the guest hall. Today is the day I, Shui Guangxi, advance to the eternal starry sky emperor realm. Many thanks to all friends for coming to my Shui clan. Originally, the grand ceremony would have taken a long time, but since Dao Friend Yi needed to exchange things, I, Shui Guangxi, decided to hold the exchange before the grand ceremony. I can't delay Dao Friend Ye's matters because of me. If Shen Qinyu looked like a landscape painting, then this female cultivator looked like a lotus rising from the clear water. Moreover, this female cultivator looked like a natural sculpture with a flawless face without any trace of artificiality. Her skin was white and slightly ruddy, and she looked like a young girl in her late 20s. His eyes were bright and innocent. It was as if even the ugliest thing would melt under his gaze. Shui clan's disciples don't understand the rules and offended Dao Friend. I ask Dao Friend to not lower yourself to their level. This old man is Shui Guangxi, I haven't asked for Dao Friend's name yet. The blonde horse-faced cultivator spoke with respect towards the blue-robed female cultivator. Bursts of applause rang out, and many of the younger cultivators felt eager to give it a try. Among the cultivators who came here, which one of them was not a powerhouse who ruled over a region? Naturally, these powerhouses did not come alone. Some brought their own juniors, while others directly brought their clan's juniors. Initially, Ning Cheng did not care about this blue-robed female cultivator, but when Ning Cheng's gaze fell on this female cultivator's face, a sense of amazement welled up in his heart. What a beautiful woman! In his impression, only Shen Qinyu's appearance could compare to her. This person was finished, that was the unanimous opinion of everyone present. Even Ning Cheng felt that the person who interrupted them was finished. No one could tolerate such a thing, not to mention Moi City's famous Shui clan. Shui Wuchang reached out and took the jade box and casually opened it to have a look. When she saw the contents of the jade box, her expression changed slightly and immediately showed a happy look. She bowed slightly to the silver-robed male cultivator and said, "Many thanks, elder brother Wan. But such a precious thing." The blue-robed female cultivator showed a slight frown and apparently understood the reason behind it. She cupped her fists and said, "Dao Friend, because I was a bit impatient, I acted rashly just now. Let's wait until after Dao Friend's ceremony before holding the exchange. Apparently, the two heaven-seated cultivators who had attacked the blue-robed female cultivator had been blasted away by the blue-robed female cultivator in just a moment. The people around them couldn't even see how this blue-robed female cultivator did it. Ning Cheng looked at Duan Gantai sitting in front of him. Since this kid spent so much money on gifts, he must have some ulterior motives. Ning Qing didn't expect that this Shui clan's cultivator would choose a husband for Shui Wuchang and not Duan Gantai. Who knew how angry this brat would be when he found out that he was drawing water with a sieve? When Ning Qing saw that the one who spoke was the young female cultivator beside Tian Mu Wan, he was slightly surprised. Although he could not see through this female cultivator's cultivation, he knew that this female cultivator was not simple. A female cultivator without a celestial wheel, yet possessing such a powerful cultivation. According to Zhongli Baiqi, if she did not cultivate a primal chaos cultivation method, then the source of her cultivation method was completely different from this positional plane. Wait. Everyone knew that this heaven-seated cultivator was about to talk about the eternal starry sky emperor's grand ceremony. But no one expected that this heaven-seated cultivator's words would be interrupted at this time. Ning Cheng naturally understood that Shui Guangxi's words of weakness were not his original intention. This blue-robed female cultivator most likely had offended him. In this case, even if this blue-robed female cultivator wanted something, no one would dare to take it out for a trade. Unless that person was powerful enough to not fear the Shui clan's revenge. Shen Qinyu's appearance was the most beautiful woman Ning Cheng had ever seen. However, when he first saw Shen Qinyu, what appeared in front of his eyes was not Shen Qinyu's beauty, but a landscape painting and the most beautiful song. A powerful imposing aura pressed down on Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng's celestial origin domain slightly blocked off this imposing aura. Ning Cheng's gaze then fell on the cultivator who had just arrived. This cultivator had a head full of blonde hair and was over 2 meters tall. He had a long horse-like face, which people would remember at a glance. Regardless of this female cultivator's strength, Ning Cheng did not agree with her way of doing things. If it were him, he would definitely not use such a radical approach. He would wait until Shui Guangxi's eternal starry sky emperor's grand ceremony before discussing the exchange. Under normal circumstances, this kind of grand ceremony would definitely have some trading activities between cultivators, so there was no need to rush it. What courage! A mere woman dares to be rude to Shui clan's guest hall. Get the hell out of here. The two heaven-seated cultivators standing next to the guest hall's master's platform rushed up almost at the same time. Looking at their actions, they wanted to grab this blue-robed female cultivator and throw her out. Not to mention that Shui Wuchang herself was an excellent and beautiful genius cultivator. Even if she could form a relationship with the Shui clan, it would still be something to look forward to. Did this Duan Gantai really think that he was a master? Ning Cheng gave a cold snort. Brother Duan, my legs are very precious, and I won't easily help people run away. Ning Cheng secretly thought that this female cultivator surnamed Yi was quite smart. The things she wanted must have been unique, which is why she couldn't even buy them in ordinary merchant houses. As for Shui Guangxi's eternal starry sky emperor's grand ceremony, only the most powerful people in the entire mysterious yellow starland would attend. Even if one couldn't buy things from merchant houses, one might not necessarily not be able to buy them from these people. Not knowing if it was because of the fear of the blue-robed female cultivator surnamed Yi, the dance didn't last long before Shui Guangxi winked at the cultivator presiding over the ceremony. Ning Cheng quickly retracted his gaze and found that the rest of the cultivators around him also seemed to be attracted by the female cultivator's appearance in the light blue robe. Shui Guangxi pondered over it for a moment before nodding. Many thanks, Dao Friend Yi. Junior apprentice Sister Wuchang, this is a little thing I got at an auction. I'll give it to Junior apprentice Sister Wuchang. A silver-robed man stood up and handed the jade box in his hand to the attendant next to him. The attendant quickly held the jade box with both hands and respectfully brought it to Shui Wuchang. Humph. The female cultivator gave a cold snort. It seemed that she still felt dissatisfied with the beating. At this moment, the entire hall came to a standstill. Something that even eternal cultivators couldn't do, yet this female cultivator did it with just a raise of her hand. The only possibility was that this female cultivator's cultivation far surpassed that of an eternal cultivator. No wonder she dared to speak like that, it was because of her strength. Beating up a member of Shui clan at the Shui clan's Eternal Starry Sky Emperor ceremony meant that this matter had turned into a big deal. However, the several Shui clan cultivators only dared to watch from afar and didn't dare to come forward. At this moment, everyone's eyes focused on the person who interrupted the Shui clan's heaven-seated cultivator. This was the Shui clan's Starry Sky Emperor's advancement ceremony. Interrupting the announcement of the advancement ceremony under such circumstances was simply a slap in the face. Rather than a slap in the face, it was more like a direct provocation. So that's how it is. It's an honor for my Shui clan that Dao Friendyi can grace my Shui clan with her presence. Shui Guangxi smiled and cupped his fists. His words were extremely polite, without even a shred of dissatisfaction. But what surprised Ning Qing even more was that he felt an inexplicable immortalization coming from this female cultivator. In Ning Qing's impression, immortals were like ancient Chinese legends. But now that he started cultivating and became a real Starry Sky cultivator, he realized that Starry Sky cultivators and the legendary immortals were two completely different things. But now, he felt that this female cultivator was an immortal for no reason at all. As the cultivator finished speaking, a woman in a red robe, accompanied by Shui Kaiqiao, walked out. Bang bang. Boom. Two shadows flashed, followed by a series of muffled sounds. The cultivators in the guest hall, like Ning Qing, looked at the two big holes in the wall of the hall in shock. The blue-robed female cultivator nodded. Fellow Shui said that my surname is Yi, and that I came to the mysterious Yellow Starland by mistake. Today, I want to take advantage of fellow Shui's eternal hall to purchase two things. Shui Guangxi stepped forward and resolved the conflict invisibly. Then, a variety of starry sky spirit fruits, spirit wine, and flowing water were brought out. In the middle of the hall, all the female cultivators were dancing. At least, it looked like a happy and harmonious scene, without even the slightest bit of inappropriateness. Ning Qing couldn't help but praise Shui Wuchang on seeing her. This woman was in no way inferior to Tian Muan. Moreover, her delicate appearance gave her a unique charm that made people unable to look away. However, Ning Qing felt that this female cultivator named Shui Wuchang was a bit pretentious. At this moment, Ning Qing once again saw the beautiful face of this blue-robed female cultivator. But her beauty and Shen Qinyu's beauty were two completely different types. A heaven-seated cultivator wearing a luxurious robe walked up to the main stage of the guest hall with a smile on his face. He then gave a cultivator's salute to all the guests and spoke, "Honorable friends, honorable guests. Retreat." A stern voice sounded out, and the cowering Shui clan cultivators quickly retreated without a trace. Duan Gantai suddenly whispered, "Brother Ning, you have to help me deliver something." Even an eternal cultivator couldn't blow away two heaven-seated cultivators in such a hurry, right? Taking a step back, even if they were blown away, the hall's defensive array formations weren't just for show. How could they blow up the walls of the hall? As for saying that this female cultivator cultivated a trashy cultivation method, Ning Qing didn't even think about it. If a trashy cultivation method could be cultivated to the point where he couldn't see through it, then this trashy cultivation method was just too powerful. The silver-robed man smiled and spoke up in front of Shui Wuchang, "This little thing isn't worth mentioning. If junior apprentice sister Wuchang doesn't accept it, then it would mean that you look down on me, Wan Qi." The cultivator immediately stood up and waved all the dancing female cultivators away before speaking. "Today is a joyous day for my Shui clan's patriarch to advance to the eternal Starry Sky Emperor realm. But today is not the only joyous occasion for my Shui clan. On this joyous day, countless Starry Sky elites have arrived. My Shui clan has decided to choose a husband for Wu Chang to travel the Starry Sky side by side with her in the future. He had just wondered about the identity of this cultivator who brought Tian Muwen here, and now this person had taken the initiative to stand up. Shui Wu Chang's cultivation was at the full circle of heaven's mandate realm, but the celestial wheels behind her were very clear. From this, it could be seen that not only did she have amazing potential, but she also had decent strength. Ning Qing finally understood. No wonder this person had such an imposing aura. It turned out that this person was Shui clan's patriarch, Shui Guangxi, the one who had just advanced to the eternal realm. Chapter 681. With Wan Qi taking the lead, some of the cultivators who had thoughts about Shui Wu Chang also started to send gifts. Seeing Ning Qing ignore him, Duan Gantai suddenly sent a sound transmission to Ning Qing, "Brother Ning, the third key to the time wilderness is on Shui Wu Chang." After Duan Gantai uttered such an inexplicable sentence, there was no other explanation. After Ning Qing heard this sentence, he finally understood. No wonder Duan Gantai came here before going to the Temple of Time. This fellow really didn't get up early without benefits. If it weren't for the perpetual moon time key on Shui Wu Chang, why would this fellow send such a big gift? Moreover, Ning Cheng's possession of the perpetual moon time key definitely had something to do with the Temple of Time. Otherwise, with Duan Gantai's character, he would have told him in advance and even pulled him in when sending the gifts. Most likely, Duan Gantai didn't expect that Shui Kaiqiao would not do anything after receiving the gifts. Instead, he pushed his daughter out for marriage. This would not only win an ally for the Shui clan, but it would also allow his daughter to receive many more gifts. However, Ning Qing also admired Duan Gantai's methods. This fellow could even find out that Shui Wu Chang had the third key. It truly was an amazing feat. Initially, Ning Qing wanted Duan Gantai to pay a large sum of permanent essence pills before agreeing to help. But after learning that Shui Wu Chang had the perpetual moon time key, he immediately dispelled the idea. The third perpetual moon time key could only appear on him or Duan Gantai. It could never be taken away by others. Among the cultivators here, which one of them was simple? Which one of them didn't have a powerhouse backing them? Once someone else took away the perpetual moon time key, he and Duan Gantai would have to discuss it with that person. If the other party was like the two of them and didn't have a backer, it would be fine. But if the other party had a powerful backer, once they leaked the secret of the perpetual moon time key, many eternal-level powerhouses would hunt them down. Bring it over. Ning Qing didn't continue to talk about the reward with Duan Gantai. It was something that involved his own interests. His sunset's twilight couldn't suppress opponents much stronger than him. Therefore, he hoped that the Temple of Time could help his sunset's twilight reach a higher level. Therefore, he naturally didn't want the perpetual moon time key to fall into someone else's hands. Previously, Ning Qing had been standing behind Duan Gantai. Plus, after wandering in the void for so long, his temperament had already changed. Tian Muwen didn't dare to sweep out with her spiritual consciousness, so she didn't notice Ning Qing. Now that Ning Qing came out with Duan Gantai's jade box, Tian Muwen immediately saw it. She suddenly stood up, her eyes red as she muttered to herself, "Why am I seeing you again? Why is it so clear?" Tian Muwen knew that Ning Qing could cultivate, but she absolutely did not believe that Ning Qing could come to this place. The only reason they could appear in the mysterious yellow starland was that when they used the opening Heaven Child talisman, they encountered a turbulent flow of laws and ended up here by mistake. But how could Ning Qing come here? She didn't know before, but now she knew what kind of existence the Heaven Opening Talisman was. Muwen, is he the Ning Xiaocheng that you like? How could he have come here from Earth? It's absolutely impossible. The blue-robed female cultivator stopped Tian Muwen from standing up and walking forward. Tian Muan suddenly sobered up and wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes. However, Ning Qing still stood in front of her. This time, it wasn't an illusion. It's him, it's really him. Tian Muan stared at Ning Qing without blinking. She felt sure that she wasn't mistaken this time. Although Ning Qing had a lot more beard on his face and gave off vicissitudes of life, she knew that this was Ning Qing. By this time, Ning Qing had already walked up to Shui Wuchang and handed over the jade box in his hand. This is a Celestial River Essence Qi King pill. I hope junior apprentice sister Wuchang doesn't dislike it. Ning Qing didn't specifically say who sent this Essence Qi King pill, but no one cared about Ning Qing's words at this time. Who didn't know about the preciousness of a Celestial River Essence Qi King pill? This was not refined at all, and there was only one in each natural pill pond. Only a pill pond with a complete starry sky essence Qi vein could produce it. Otherwise, even a natural pill pond wouldn't produce an Essence Qi King pill. Even an eternal level expert wouldn't casually give out a Celestial River Essence Qi King pill. Therefore, everyone felt shocked by Duan Gantai's generosity. Shui Wuchang also felt shocked, but she quickly reacted and took the jade box from Ning Chang's hands with both hands. Thank you, many thanks. While handing the jade box to Shui Wuchang, Ning Chang's fingers seemed to have inadvertently slipped through Shui Wuchang's fingers. Shui Wuchang felt so excited that she repeatedly thanked Ning Chang. She had already reached the full circle of Heaven's Mandate realm, and with this Celestial River Essence Qi King pill, she could almost assuredly advance to the Heaven-seated realm. With such a gift, she didn't even have the courage to be polite. Duan Gantai suddenly stood up and cupped his fists towards Shui Wuchang with a smile. Junior apprentice sister Wuchang, I obtained this Celestial River Essence Qi King pill from a void maelstrom not long ago. I will now give it to junior apprentice sister Wuchang. I hope that junior apprentice sister Wuchang can advance to the heaven-seated realm soon. After saying this, Duan Gantai's expression changed slightly, and he spoke to Ning Qing with a slightly stern tone, Ning Qing, hurry up and stand aside. Don't disturb junior apprentice sister Wuchang. Ning Qing snickered in his heart. Duan Gantai's words obviously meant to show his shrewdness. Just like in the Su clan, this sentence was meant for the Shui clan's powerhouses to hear. Of course, this fellow also wanted to use this as an excuse to suppress him. Seeing Ning Qing really standing behind Duan Gantai, without even a place to sit, Tian Muan's nose turned even more sour. No one knew Ning Qing's pride better than her. Even someone as prideful as her, Ning Qing didn't want to explain anything to her. But now, he actually humbly stood behind this ugly male cultivator. How much grievance did he have to suffer? Could he really abandon everything for the sake of cultivation? Could he even throw away his pride? He clearly saw her, but he didn't come over to say hello. Was it because he was afraid of losing face, or because he didn't dare to come over and speak? She suddenly felt an impulse in her heart to help Ning Qing once. No matter how Ning Qing came here, she wanted to help Ning Qing. Big sister, I think. Before Tian Muan could finish her words, the blue-robed female cultivator gave out a sigh and said, Muan, if this heartless man really is the one you like, I think we should just let it go. Maybe he feels that he's living a good life. Besides, if we can't find what we need right now, let alone help others, alas. Tian Muan, on hearing the blue-robed female cultivator's words, lowered her head and didn't speak again. Seeing Tian Muan silent, the blue-robed female cultivator asked again, Muan, do you really like him? Tian Muan looked at Ning Qing in a daze and murmured, I. She subconsciously clenched the pearl hair clip hanging from her chest. The pearl hair clip had a red exterior, and it was the same pearl hair clip that she had used to hurt Ning Qing. Because of this pearl hair clip, she and Ning Qing had parted ways. To find this pearl hair clip, she had even turned over the sewers at the school's entrance. To find this pearl hair clip, she had to use her white hands to dig through the mud for the first time. She managed to find the pearl hair clip, but after washing it, it could no longer return to its original white color. She clearly remembered that she had cried at that time. She felt that the pearl hair clip was not tarnished by the mud, but rather it was tarnished by her. Thinking of Ning Cheng who had already died, as well as Ning Cheng's younger sister's angry and sorrowful curses, that night she used a blade to cut her wrist. However, she did not die. After the blood on her wrist stained the pearl hair clip, it solidified once again. From that day on, she felt that she had changed. She was no longer the Tian Muan of the past. She seemed to have sealed her first love. It was not until she saw Ning Cheng again and knew that Ning Cheng had not died that she realized that her first love had ended. However, she had always carried this pearl hair clip with her. Until Ning Cheng saved her for the second time. That was the last time she went to Ning Cheng even though she knew that she would die. At that time, she realized that although her first love could be hidden and sealed, it would never disappear, nor would it ever end. Knowing that Ning Cheng had saved her once again, she finally understood that regardless of whether she had sealed her first love or not, she had fallen in love with this person for the second time. Tian Muan looked at Ning Cheng blankly. When she didn't see him, she kept thinking about what he was doing. Would they meet again one day? But now that she saw him, she didn't know what to say. She didn't know what she should do. Should we not meet? This was the third time that this sentence had come to her mind. Many thanks for the love from the various Dao friends and the precious gifts for my daughter. It's just that there are so many outstanding geniuses here that even I feel dazzled. Shui Kaiqiao got a wink from Shui Guangxi and immediately stood up. Shui Guangxi chuckled, Kai Chiao is right. But after all, Wu Chang is the one choosing her husband. Let's listen to Wu Chang's opinion. Shui Wu Chang had already put away the Celestial River Essence Qi King pill. She took the initiative to walk up to Duan Gantai and spoke softly, Wu Chang thanks Big Brother Duan for the generous gift. Duan Gantai chuckled, Junior Apprentice Sister Wu Chang, you don't have to be so polite. I don't have many things, but I have a lot of cultivation resources. If Junior Apprentice Sister Wu Chang lacks cultivation resources, feel free to look for me. I promise to help you properly. Shui Wu Chang showed a faint smile and thanked them again. Then, she gave a cultivator's salute and spoke with a soft voice, choosing a husband for me has delayed everyone for a long time, and Wu Chang feels sorry about it. It's just that my husband is Wu Chang's lifelong companion, so Wu Chang has to be cautious. To not delay the time of the seniors, senior apprentice brothers and senior apprentice sisters, it's better to hold the exchange meeting first. After the exchange meeting, if senior apprentice brothers and senior apprentice brothers find Wu Chang pleasing to the eye, please come to the back residence for a chat. The cultivators who had designs on Shui Wu Chang finally felt relieved. They feared that Duan Gantai's gift would be too powerful, leaving them with no chance to continue competing. Fortunately, Shui Wu Chang didn't choose Duan Gantai immediately. Instead, she invited everyone to the back residence. Why would she go to the back residence? Even a fool could guess that Shui Wu Chang wanted to choose her husband in the back residence. Chapter 682. When Tian Muan's gaze fell on him, Ning Cheng understood that Tian Muan had recognized him. Although he wanted to ask how Tian Muan came here, Ning Cheng also knew that there was an insurmountable gap between him and Tian Muan. As for how Tian Muan came here, it was definitely one of the most secretive things, and it was not appropriate for him to ask about it. He looked up at Tian Muan and saw Tian Muan staring at him. She did not flinch under his gaze and continued to stare at him, but with a bit more pity and longing. Ning Cheng guessed that Tian Muan sympathized with him and sighed in his heart. He then turned his gaze to the blue-robed female cultivator beside her. Tian Muan lived on Earth, did this female cultivator bring her here? The blue-robed female cultivator frowned a little, and Ning Cheng understood that she was starting to feel impatient. Shui Guangxi seemed to have sensed the impatience of the blue-robed female cultivator and stood up after Shui Wuchang stepped back. Now let's start the item exchange. First, I would like to invite Dao Frenji to show off her things. No one would refuse an item exchange of this level. Everyone here was a powerhouse, and the things they brought out would not be too bad. It was a rare opportunity to participate in this kind of item exchange. As Shui Guangxi's words fell, everyone immediately stared at the blue-robed female cultivator. This female cultivator was not only beautiful, but her cultivation was also unfathomable. If an ordinary cultivator dared to teach a lesson to two heaven-seated cultivators from the Shui clan in the guest hall, they would have long since been thrown out of the hall. They might not even be able to keep their lives. However, Shui Guangxi still spoke politely to this female cultivator. It was not because of the generosity of the Shui clan, but because Shui Guangxi feared others. The blue-robed female cultivator didn't care about the gazes of others. She stood up and took out a small gray airship and said, "This is a high-grade flight-type spirit artifact. I want to exchange it for two things. The first is a starry sky spiritual grass, sifting fairy grass." Not waiting for the blue-robed female cultivator to finish her words, the entire guest hall suddenly burst into an uproar. A fiery gaze moved from the blue-robed female cultivator's face to the small gray airship in her hand. High-grade spirit artifact. It was simply a legendary item. In the mysterious yellow starland, a low-grade spirit artifact could become a sex guardian treasure. Even a half-grade spirit artifact could provoke countless people to fight over it. Yet, this blue-robed female cultivator took out a high-rank spirit artifact. For a moment, greed, envy, desire, fervor, all kinds of gazes focused on the small wooden boat in the hands of the blue-robed female cultivator. Even if most of the people here were cultivators in the heaven-seated realm or above, they still couldn't suppress the heavy breathing coming from them. Even Shui Guangxi, a starry sky emperor in the eternal realm, could not hide the light of desire in his eyes. Ning Qing had the starry sky wheel, so he didn't have much desire for a high-grade flight-type spirit artifact. But as an artifact crafting expert, he still felt shocked by this high-grade spirit artifact airship. He couldn't tell how this flying ship was made, but its smooth and natural appearance gave him a vague feeling. The craftsman who refined this flying ship had already fused together with the laws of heaven and earth. There was no flaw to be found at all. This was something refined by a top-notch artifact crafting powerhouse. Compared to this powerhouse, Zhongli Baiqi's artifact crafting skills were just like a baby learning to walk. Ning Qing quickly retracted his gaze and secretly shook his head. Although he appreciated the blue-robed female cultivator's high-grade flight-type spirit artifact, he did not agree with this blue-robed female cultivator's approach. If it were him, he would never do such a thing. This blue-robed female cultivator took out a high-grade spirit artifact airship without fear, which showed her strength. It also showed that she did not fear the eternal-level cultivators here. There was nothing wrong with this. However, her mistake was to use this high-grade spirit artifact airship to exchange for the sifting fairy grass. As a grade 6 celestial river pill king, Ning Qing knew all too well what the sifting fairy grass was. The sifting fairy grass was a top-grade starry sky spiritual grass, even surpassing grade 9 starry sky spiritual grasses. The only use of this thing was for healing. The sifting fairy grass could heal only one kind of injury, and that was damage to one's Zifu. Zifu suffered various kinds of damage, but the sifting fairy grass would only work if one's sea of consciousness was damaged and one's cultivation kept declining. The sea of consciousness was condensed from the Zifu, therefore, it was not wrong to say that the sea of consciousness was hidden within the Zifu. If the blue-robed female cultivator wanted to exchange for the sifting fairy grass, then the only possibility was that her Zifu suffered damage, which led to the continuous suppression of her sea of consciousness and cultivation. No matter how high this blue-robed female cultivator's cultivation was, as long as she could not obtain the sifting fairy grass, her cultivation would sooner or later fall to the level of ordinary eternal-level cultivators. At that time, not to mention exchanging for the sifting fairy grass, it would already be a blessing if she could keep the high-grade spirit artifact in her hands. The blue-robed female cultivator acted as if she did not see the hot and greedy gazes. After taking out the high-grade spirit artifact airship and displaying it for a while, she then put away the airship. "May I ask what is the other thing this friend wants to exchange for?" A bald male cultivator with a ruddy face stood up and asked. This voice immediately sobered up the cultivators who were still immersed in the fantasy of obtaining a high-grade spirit artifact. This bald male cultivator was an eternal-level expert. Even such an expert showed such fear towards the blue-robed female cultivator. From this, it showed that this blue-robed female cultivator was not someone ordinary people could afford to offend. "I need a detailed positional jade strip, which refers to the place where this positional plane intersects with other positional planes." The blue-robed female cultivator spoke without any hurry. As soon as these words came out, the cultivators in the guest hall who had some understanding of positional planes immediately guessed that this blue-robed female cultivator was a cultivator from another positional plane. Ning Qing thought to himself that if he wanted to find the junction between positional planes and interfaces, he would have to go to the ancient Desolace abandoned land. Otherwise, he could also go to the Eternal Night single-file gorge that he had just come out of and enter the void around the Eternal Night domain. That place definitely had the most connections to the other positional planes. After the red-faced bald male cultivator heard the blue-robed female cultivator's words, he immediately took out a jade strip and said, "Dao Friendyi, I have a jade strip here. It records the 4 grand starry skies, as well as most of the possible interface points and positional planes around the mysterious yellow starland." The blue-robed female cultivator shook her head calmly. "1 jade strip is not enough." Everyone knew that 1 jade strip was not enough. Not to mention 1 jade strip, even if this jade strip combined with the sifting fairy grass, it would still be far from a high-grade spirit artifact. Unfortunately, no one here could take out the sifting fairy grass. Shui Guangxi suddenly spoke up, "Dao Friendyi, the positional jade strip is easy to obtain, but the sifting fairy grass is a bit more difficult. I can get a stalk of sifting fairy grass, but Dao Friendyi will have to wait for a while." The red-faced male cultivator put away the jade strip with some displeasure. Although Shui Guangxi did not explicitly say that his jade strip was worthless, he had already told that woman surnamed Yi that she could get a jade strip anytime, anywhere. If she wanted the sifting fairy grass, she could only look for him, Shui Guangxi. Ning Qing did not believe Shui Guangxi's words at all. He had experienced such things too many times. Shui Guangxi most likely said those words because he knew that the female cultivator's cultivation was weakening and urgently needed the sifting fairy grass. He had asked this female cultivator to wait for the female cultivator's cultivation to weaken to a certain extent before making his move. "How long will it take?" The blue-robed female cultivator maintained a calm expression, seemingly unaware of Shui Guangxi's thoughts. Shui Guangxi immediately spoke up, "I can't give you an answer now. I have to send out a message, and then I can give you an answer tomorrow. However, according to my judgment, I should be able to get it within a month." Ning Qing sneered in his heart. A month's worth of daylilies would have already turned cold. He did not believe that the blue-robed female cultivator would agree to this request. The blue-robed female cultivator pondered over it for a moment before speaking, "Okay, I'll stay in your residence today and wait until tomorrow." Shui Guangxi, as the host, took the initiative to accept the blue-robed female cultivator's deal. Even if they coveted the high-grade flight-type spirit artifact, no one came out to speak at this time. The exchange meeting continued. Although the items in the back paled in comparison to the high-grade spirit artifacts, they still maintained a good standard. Ning Qing did not make a move from the beginning to the end. Even if he saw some good things in the middle, he did not buy them. However, Duan Gantai, as always, showed off his wealth and continued to purchase all kinds of treasures. Towards the end, even some eternal cultivators started to pay attention to this side. Even Ning Qing attracted the attention of many people. A few hours later, the exchange meeting finally ended. A Shui clan's heaven-seated steward entered the inner residence with a group of cultivators who wanted to marry Shui Wuchang. The blue-robed female cultivator and Tian Muan were taken away to rest. Tian Muan wanted to talk to Ning Qing several times, but she finally held back and left with the blue-robed female cultivator. Ning Qing, a follower, naturally did not have the opportunity to enter the inner residence. Instead, the Shui clan's people took him to a very ordinary room to rest. After entering the room, Ning Qing immediately activated the restrictions around the room. Tian Muan had an expert like the blue-robed female cultivator by her side, so he naturally did not need to care about her. What he cared about the most right now was Shui Wuchang. He did not care about who Shui Wuchang would choose as her husband, but whether he could get the white perpetual moon time key from Shui Wuchang. Only by obtaining the perpetual moon time key from Shui Wuchang could he gain the upper hand in his fight against Duan Gantai. Although he left his spiritual consciousness imprint on Shui Wuchang's finger, he did not intend to start now. The Shui clan had many experts. If he started at this time, it would be a disaster if he was discovered. Although it wouldn't take his life, it would be more than enough for him to say goodbye to the perpetual moon time key. Breaking the restrictions around the ring through the spiritual consciousness imprint and penetrating Shui Wuchang's ring, Ning Qing had only guessed it. As for whether it would succeed or not, he had no confidence at all. Fortunately, Shui Wuchang's cultivation was far inferior to his. Not only was he proficient in various array formations and restrictions, but he could also use his spiritual consciousness to attack. In order to make his plan succeed, Ning Qing repeatedly experimented in his room. 2 hours passed by in a flash, and just when Ning Qing felt that he had some confidence in his plan, he noticed his spiritual consciousness imprint moving towards him. He had left his spiritual consciousness imprint on Shui Wuchang. Now that his spiritual consciousness imprint had moved towards him, it meant that Shui Wuchang had come here. Ning Qing frowned and stood up. Shui Wuchang should still be in the middle of choosing a man, so why would she come here? Did Shui Wuchang discover his spiritual consciousness imprint and wanted to settle accounts with him? If that was the case, then Shui Wuchang definitely did not come here alone. Chapter 683. Just a dozen meters away from Ning Qing's room, Shui Wuchang suddenly stopped. She bit her lip and seemed to hesitate about something. Ning Qing's heart moved, and he immediately took out a few materials and started refining the perpetual moon time key as quickly as possible. Ning Qing didn't care about the level of the perpetual moon time key at all. He just kept setting up various restrictions to prevent his spiritual consciousness from sweeping in. But before the perpetual moon time key could be refined, the restriction on Ning Qing's door activated. Ning Qing's spiritual consciousness swept out and found only Shui Wuchang outside. Senior apprentice Sister Shui. After a dozen breaths, Ning Qing opened the restriction and called out respectfully. After Shui Wuchang entered Ning Qing's room, she helped Ning Qing put up the restriction on the door before looking at Ning Qing in a daze. Senior apprentice Sister Shui, you. Ning Qing felt really confused this time. He really couldn't understand why Shui Wuchang came here and looked at him like this. Shui Wuchang suddenly smiled, Big Brother Ning, my father has already made the decision for me. In a few days, Big Brother Duan will be my lifelong Dao companion. Ning Qing couldn't help but think that this Duan Gantai truly had some skills. Although he didn't look like much, he still managed to break through the encirclement and gain the favor of Shui Kaiqiao. Senior apprentice Sister Shui and our family's young master Duan are a match made in heaven. Congratulations, Senior apprentice Sister Shui. Ning Qing quickly cupped his fists and congratulated her. Shui Wuchang sighed, and a trace of loneliness flashed in her eyes, but she didn't speak. Ning Qing could only follow in silence. He still couldn't figure out why Shui Wuchang came here. He absolutely didn't believe that Shui Wuchang fell in love with him at first sight and then secretly confessed to him. He wasn't the kind of handsome man with unparalleled qualifications in the heavens and earth. A man who couldn't get away from a woman. After a long time, Shui Wuchang spoke up, "My father invited Big Brother Duan for a chat." "Big Brother Ning. You've been following Big Brother Duan for a long time, right? Can you tell me something about him?" Ning Qing felt a little speechless. Did she come here to inquire about Duan Gantai? But he didn't know anything about it. Senior sister Shui, Big Brother Duan's natural talent is outstanding, and he's generous. The reason I'm willing to follow behind Big Brother Duan is because, Shui Wuchang suddenly interrupted Ning Cheng's words, "Big Brother Ning, but the person I like isn't him." "Ah!" Ning Cheng exclaimed in surprise. "Did you like Duan Gantai or not? Why did you come looking for me?" Shui Wuchang pursed her lips and took out a wristband before stuffing it into Ning Cheng's hand. She then grabbed Ning Cheng's hand and spoke, "Big Brother Ning, this is for you. Don't forget me." After saying that, Shui Wuchang suddenly hugged Ning Cheng and kissed him on the cheek. Ning Cheng didn't wait for Shui Wuchang to leave and immediately wrapped his arms around Shui Wuchang's waist. A soft and pleasant fragrance assaulted his senses, causing Ning Cheng's heart to flutter. However, Ning Cheng quickly sobered up and hugged the struggling Shui Wuchang even tighter. "Junior apprentice sister Wuchang, I finally understand what it means to fall in love at first sight." If it weren't for Shui Wuchang stuffing him with the bracelet and taking the initiative to kiss him, Ning Cheng wouldn't have hugged Shui Wuchang like this. Shui Wuchang never expected that Ning Cheng not only had a spiritual consciousness cultivation method but also had such a wide range of knowledge. Within the entire starry sky, only a few cultivators recognized the Bodhi stone, but Ning Cheng also recognized it. The Bodhi stone and the lifting stone were two of the strangest materials in the starry sky and were extremely rare. If these two materials were placed separately, they wouldn't interfere with each other at all. But once the Bodhi stone and the lifting stone were placed within 10 meters of each other, they would form a Bodhi poisonous heart aura. This aura could make people lose consciousness for a certain period of time. Even Eternal Realm cultivators were no exception. Moreover, after waking up, they wouldn't even notice it. The bracelet that Shui Wuchang gave him was the Bodhi stone. Although the artifact crafting staff blocked it from the outside, it couldn't escape Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness. Since the Bodhi stone was delivered to him, Ning Cheng felt almost certain that the lifting stone bead was on Duan Gantai. Ning Cheng could guess what would happen next. He would be arranged to live with Duan Gantai. Then, after the two of them lost consciousness, someone would turn their rings upside down. Duan Gantai only had heaven-seated cultivation, yet the Shui clan would rather use this method to make Duan Gantai unconscious than to attack him. From this, one could tell that Duan Gantai's origin wasn't ordinary. At least the Shui clan knew that Duan Gantai's origin wasn't ordinary and wouldn't dare to kill Duan Gantai. However, Ning Cheng didn't feel any fear. If he wasn't prepared, he would most likely fall for it. Now that he knew about the Bodhi poisonous heart, he definitely wouldn't fall for it. "Big Brother Ning, don't do this. I'm leaving. If someone comes over." Shui Wuchang struggled, but Ning Cheng still held on to Shui Wuchang tightly. It would be strange if he didn't want something delivered to his door. Ning Cheng had already placed a spiritual consciousness mark on Shui Wuchang's ring. Now that Shui Wuchang was in his arms, he could do things even faster. In just a few breaths, Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness opened the restrictions on Shui Wuchang's ring and invaded it. Bang! The restrictions on Ning Cheng's room opened again, and two women stood at the door. Shui Wuchang took the opportunity to break free from Ning Cheng's arms and said to Ning Cheng with a blushing face, "Big Brother Ning, I'll be leaving first. After that, she hurriedly walked past the two female cultivators at the door and quickly disappeared. Tian Muan and the blue-robed female cultivator stood at the door. Not to mention that Ning Cheng had only activated a few grade 3 celestial array restrictions. Even if Ning Cheng activated a grade 6 celestial river restriction, it would still be useless in the eyes of others. Are you okay? After a long time, Tian Muan asked a question. The blue-robed female cultivator showed a cold smile. Didn't you see his passionate look just now? Is there anything wrong with it? You should have said that you didn't come here to disturb his good time. Sit down, we haven't seen each other for a long time. Ning Cheng smiled and said. He also felt that Tian Muan had changed a lot. Back then, because of a misunderstanding, she didn't hesitate to abandon him. But now that she saw him and Shui Wuchang hugging each other, she didn't show even the slightest fluctuation. Maybe she had already regarded him as an ordinary friend, so she didn't care about it. Ning Cheng also understood that there was no possibility between him and Tian Muan. Not to mention anything else, just Luofei and Qianghua, with Tian Muan's independent personality, she would never compromise. Tian Muan shook her head. No, I'm leaving. Take care. Seeing Tian Muan and the blue-robed female cultivator turn around to leave, Ning Cheng suddenly spoke up, Senior Apprentice Sister Yi, maybe I'm talking too much. I guess the Shui clan would definitely know that you asked for the sifting fairy grass because your spiritual consciousness is constantly suppressed, which would cause your cultivation to drop. I'm afraid that they don't really have the sifting fairy grass, but just want to hold you back. The blue-robed female cultivator gave a cold snort. Just take care of yourself. Don't beg Muan to let me save you. Let's go, Muan. There's no need to talk to such people. Watching the blue-robed female cultivator pull Tian Muan away, Ning Cheng showed a faint smile and didn't care about it at all. At the same time, he activated the restriction again and swept his spiritual consciousness into the ring. But then, his expressions changed drastically. The perpetual moon-time key he had just obtained from Shui Wuchang's ring had disappeared. Not only did the perpetual moon-time key disappear, but even the 1 million perpetual moon pills in his ring had disappeared. Whoosh, cold sweat started to flow down Ning Cheng's back. He had already advanced to the heaven-seated realm, yet someone had quietly taken away the things in his ring. What kind of terrifying cultivation was this? With this kind of terrifying cultivation, it would be as easy as flipping a hand to kill Ning Cheng. Shui Wuchang definitely didn't have such an ability, and neither did Tian Muan. The only possibility was that blue-robed female cultivator surnamed Yi. Ning Cheng secretly took in a deep breath. Fortunately, he had kept all the good things in the true spirit world. When he entered the mysterious yellow starland, he had put the true spirit world into the mysterious yellow bead. Otherwise, he would have suffered a huge loss. No wonder the blue-robed female cultivator had no fear. With such a powerful cultivation, Shui Guangxi simply couldn't compare to her. He must not let the white perpetual moon-time key fall into the hands of the blue-robed female cultivator. Otherwise, it would be tantamount to him working for nothing. Thinking of this, Ning Cheng immediately left the room to find the blue-robed female cultivator. Just then, a slightly drunk Duan Gantai arrived at the door. Ning Cheng opened the restriction, and Duan Gantai fell in. Ning Cheng knew about Duan Gantai's schemes, but he absolutely didn't believe that Duan Gantai would get drunk. When Duan Gantai came in, he only muttered a few words to Ning Cheng before falling down on the couch and muttering to himself. Ning Cheng's gaze then fell on Duan Gantai's hand. Sure enough, he saw a ring on Duan Gantai's finger. This ring wasn't an interspatial ring but a refined lifting stone. In just half an incense stick worth of time, the invisible aura of the Bodhi stone and the lifting stone condensed together and quickly formed the Bodhi poisonous heart. Ning Cheng sealed his aura and leaned back on a chair with his eyes closed. At this time, he wasn't sure if Duan Gantai didn't recognize the lifting stone in his hand. However, he believed that Duan Gantai wouldn't fall into such a trap so easily. If Duan Gantai were so useless, he would have already been eaten up by others. Why would he wait until now? Not long after Ning Cheng sealed his aura, Shui Guangxi arrived at Ning Cheng's room. Ning Cheng sneered in his heart. This Shui Guangxi really took this matter seriously and even personally came to look for things. Shui Guangxi stood beside Duan Gantai for a while and quickly took something from Duan Gantai's ring. As for Ning Cheng's ring, Shui Guangxi didn't even touch it. Not long after Shui Guangxi left, Duan Gantai woke up. He looked at Ning Cheng and chuckled, "Brother Ning, you can wake up now." Ning Cheng felt a little helpless and had to open his eyes and ask, "Brother Duan, what did Shui Guangxi take from your ring?" "It's just a fake perpetual moon time key." Duan Gantai spoke as if nothing had happened. After that, without waiting for Ning Cheng to ask again, he smiled and said, "Brother Ning, you must have obtained the perpetual moon time key from Shui Wuchang, right?" Ning Cheng frowned, "What do you mean?" Duan Gantai smiled, "Don't tell me that you didn't tamper with Shui Wuchang's ring when you sent her the Celestial River Pill King. Don't tell me that Shui Wuchang didn't come to see you before I came in. How could Shui Wuchang, a person with eyes on the top of her head, be Brother Ning's opponent?" As he spoke, his gaze fell on the Bodhi stone bead on Ning Cheng's wrist. Chapter 684. That's right, I got it. Now that I have 2 keys, shouldn't we rediscuss the distribution of the things in the Temple of Time? Ning Cheng spoke without any hurry. He didn't explain that someone else had taken away the perpetual moon time key. Duan Gantai also spoke up without any hurry, "Although you have 2 keys, it's all because of my hard work. First, if I hadn't given away so many things, Shui clan wouldn't have chosen me, while you didn't pay anything. Second, if I hadn't inadvertently revealed that I had a perpetual moon time key, people wouldn't have used the Bodhi poisonous heart, and you wouldn't have had the opportunity to scheme against Shui Wuchang. Third, I know where the Temple of Time is, but you don't." Ning Cheng knew that Duan Gantai wouldn't be so easy to talk to. If Duan Gantai really calculated that he would do something to Shui Wuchang, then this fellow truly was too powerful. "We can divide it equally, but you must tell me where the Temple of Time is. Cooperation is based on mutual trust. Brother Duan also said that we should cooperate sincerely, right?" Ning Cheng didn't expect Duan Gantai to compromise with him. But to Ning Cheng's surprise, Duan Gantai took out a jade strip with a straight face and handed it to Ning Cheng. "Brother Ning, fortunately you reminded me. Otherwise, I would have been too careless and almost caused a misunderstanding between us brothers. Since we want to cooperate, then we must be sincere. This is the jade strip with the location of the Temple of Time." Ning Cheng took the jade strip in doubt. He thought that Duan Gantai would try to use all sorts of excuses to refuse. He didn't expect that he would tell him the location of the Temple of Time so easily. Wasn't this fellow a bit too easy to talk to? Why didn't he feel that Duan Gantai was this easy to talk to before? Seeing Ning Cheng put away the jade strip, Duan Gantai smiled, "Brother Ning, with Shui clan's shrewdness, I'm afraid they would soon discover the problem. Now that I have what I need, I'll take my leave first." After saying that, regardless of whether Ning Cheng agreed or not, Duan Gantai flashed out of the house. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness swept out but couldn't find any trace of him. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness swept into the jade strip and found that it contained restrictions. Ning Cheng didn't take the time to open the jade strip's restrictions and hurried out of the house. He knew that Duan Gantai's last sentence was right. The Shui clan would definitely discover the 2 fake perpetual moon time keys. "Since you went, why didn't you say anything?" The blue-robed woman looked at Tian Muan and asked. Tian Muan sighed, "He has changed, he used to not even dare to hold my hand, but today he..." In her eyes, Ning Xiaocheng was a shy person, but now he was not only willing to humble himself and stand behind others as a servant, but was also secretly so bold with other women. Tian Mu-wan ultimately did not continue, but looked at the blue-robed woman with a trace of pleading in her voice. "Elder sister, you said that the rules here are not complete. When we leave, can we take him with us?" The blue-robed woman looked at Tian Mu-wan and said, "Tian," and said, "Tian, Mu Tian, I, you, Mu Tian Tian, master." "Tian you," I said, "he, you, I, you," I said, I, you. "Tian, Tian. Cheng, Tian, Tian Tian." After Tian Mu-wan heard these words, she was somewhat at a loss, and only shook her head after a long time. "I don't know, maybe I'm not his girlfriend, so I don't have the qualifications to be angry. Maybe I've changed too." Everyone would change. After experiencing the insect tide on earth, the parting of life and death, the feelings of regret and hatred, and the experience of transmigrating to another plane. What else couldn't change? The blue-robed female cultivator sighed in her heart and spoke with a soft tone, "Muan, although I have never fallen in love, I have seen a lot. I don't think you two are compatible." Seeing Tian Muan reveal a puzzled look, the blue-robed female cultivator simply spoke up, "That Ning Xiaocheng is not a simple person. I have a vague feeling that he is not what you see. He has a strong self-confidence that I've only seen in my father." "Big sister." Tian Muan looked at the blue-robed female cultivator in shock. "He's not simple, and his master with the surname Duan isn't simple either. As for why you said that he was a proud person and wanted to be someone else's slave, I don't know. But there is one thing I'm sure of, there is nothing between him and Shui Wuchang." The blue-robed female cultivator spoke out her guess. Tian Muan felt puzzled, but big sister, he was clearly hugging that female cultivator, and. The blue-robed female cultivator showed a slight smile. "Muan, sometimes what you see is not necessarily true. One misunderstanding can be considered a misunderstanding, but two misunderstandings can only mean that you two are not suitable for each other. Moreover, your attitude towards him right now is more of pity than love." Tian Muan suddenly froze. She recalled the scene when Ning Cheng returned to Earth, when she and Ning Cheng met in the coffee shop. From the beginning to the end, she only felt pity for Ning Cheng, or rather, pity. Pity and sympathy were definitely not love. If she really loved Ning Cheng, even if she became a true cultivator, even if her family background was more powerful, even if Ning Cheng's situation was worse, she would not feel that the two of them were not people from the same world, nor would she feel that the two of them could not be together. Thinking back to the coffee shop, and the thoughts she had towards Ning Cheng, Tian Muan suddenly felt a bit ridiculous. Perhaps at that time, Ning Cheng also looked at her the same way. No matter how powerful her family background was, could it compare to a powerful true cultivator like Ning Cheng? Her chi-gathering third-level cultivation was not even worth mentioning in Ning Cheng's eyes. However, she thought that she was standing at the highest place, and even took out a diamond card to look down on Ning Cheng. Although she did not mean it, when she took out the diamond card, it showed that she was already standing on top of Ning Cheng's head. Otherwise, with her previous understanding of Ning Cheng, how could he possibly do such a thing? Previously, she would rather accompany Ning Cheng to eat in a tiny restaurant than to take care of Ning Cheng's self-esteem. Today, when she saw Ning Cheng again, she still felt the same kind of pity and sympathy. Seeing Ning Cheng forcibly embracing Shui Wuchang, she could only sigh in her heart. She even wanted to talk to Ning Cheng for a few words. Did Ning Cheng need her pity and sympathy? If it weren't for her big sister, would she have been able to leave Earth and start a real true cultivator? However, Ning Cheng had always relied on himself from the beginning to the end. Her big sister had told her that in the true cultivator world, the strong preyed on the weak. What was wrong with Ning Cheng following behind that person surnamed Duan as a servant? After Tian Muan sorted out her thoughts, her mood relaxed. "Big sister, you're so beautiful, don't you have anyone you like?" The blue-robed female cultivator shook her head. Your cultivation is still low. I'll explain it to you when your cultivation reaches a higher level. As for someone I like, I really haven't met anyone who could move my heart. I won't feel wrong just to find a Tao companion. You don't have to worry about whether you like someone or not. When that person surnamed Ning comes over, you can talk to him yourself. He will come over. Tian Muan looked at the blue-robed female cultivator in doubt. The blue-robed female cultivator nodded with affirmation. Yes, he will definitely come over. She had taken the key that Ning Cheng had taken from Shui Wuchang with the sole purpose of making Ning Cheng come over. No. The blue-robed female cultivator followed up with 2 more words before grabbing Tian Muan and rushing into the sky. Even so, a violent force still struck the sole of her foot. The blue-robed female cultivator had just rushed out when a dull explosion erupted from the room she had been in. Although the sound of the explosion wasn't very loud, the room completely turned into nothingness after the explosion. Cracks appeared out of thin air, and it was a ghastly sight like a spider web. The violent impact force slammed into Ning Cheng's chest. Even if Ning Cheng's domain managed to block it in time, he still felt a burst of pain in his chest and almost died from the impact. Ning Cheng secretly felt shocked. He had a clear understanding of his own cultivation. Even with his cultivation, the aftermath of the explosion had almost injured him. If the blue-robed female cultivator hadn't rushed out of the room, she most likely would have died. Ning Cheng instantly concealed himself. He had indeed come here to ask the blue-robed female cultivator for the key. Unexpectedly, he hadn't even reached the blue-robed female cultivator's room when her room exploded. Looking at the void cracks in the distance, Ning Cheng secretly exclaimed in his heart. He didn't know what caused such terrifying power. Although it didn't look very powerful, it had created such a terrifying void crack. Even the aftermath was so powerful. After the explosion, the void crack had not yet completely closed when several weapons shot towards the blue-robed female cultivator. Ning Cheng, who was hiding on the side, could clearly see that the ones attacking the blue-robed female cultivator were all in the eternal realm. Moreover, they were all cultivators who had participated in Shui Guanxi's grand ceremony. Ning Cheng had guessed that Shui clan would attack the blue-robed female cultivator, but he didn't expect it to happen so quickly. Boom boom boom. A series of violent explosions erupted over Shui clan's residence. Countless explosive lights and flashes of lightning mixed together, showing the intensity of the battle. Explosions and a bloody mist continued to sprinkle down from the sky. Bang bang. A figure quickly fell down, followed by a sharp sound, and a blue arc streaked across the sky. Ning Cheng could clearly see that the blue-robed female cultivator was truly powerful. She should have already suffered some injuries, and the dull explosion had injured her once again. Even under such circumstances, with 6 eternal cultivators besieging her, she still managed to kill 2 of them and seriously injure 1. She's seriously injured, hurry up and chase after her. The cultivator who fell to the ground screamed. But in fact, he didn't even need to shout out as the others had already chased after her. Perhaps they knew that the blue-robed female cultivator's injuries were too severe, but in addition to the few eternal cultivators who chased after her, more than a dozen cultivators quickly chased after her. The cultivator, who was blasted down by the blue-robed female cultivator, took a deep breath and took out a medicinal pill. But before he could swallow the medicinal pill, a sharp murderous intent locked onto him. Although he instantly realized that someone had plotted against him, his current situation didn't allow him to escape this sneak attack. Poof! The spear tip pierced through the back of his head and came out from between his eyebrows. The powerful celestial essence quickly destroyed his meridians. "Who are you?" the cultivator asked, unwilling to give up. "I'm just passing by." Ning Cheng twisted the long spear in his hand, and a cluster of flames turned the eternal cultivator into nothingness. A ring flew out of the flames and fell into Ning Cheng's hand. Chapter 685. Ning Cheng had just put away the ring when he felt something amiss. He quickly understood what was going on. Duan Gantai's aura had disappeared from the connecting spirit silk. In other words, he couldn't figure out Duan Gantai's current location. Sure enough, he hadn't misjudged this surname Duan. He could easily sever the connecting spirit silk without going through him. Ning Cheng didn't hesitate to send out a few spiritual consciousness imprints to seal the connecting spirit silk in his hand. Since he didn't know Duan Gantai's whereabouts, he naturally didn't want Duan Gantai to know his whereabouts. Violent celestial essence explosions sounded out again. Ning Cheng understood that the blue-robed female cultivator hadn't managed to break through Moi City's sealing array formation in time. Ning Cheng was just about to go out and take a look when his spiritual consciousness swept out and found that the blue-robed female cultivator had returned. Nearly 34 cultivators besieged the blue-robed female cultivator. Of these cultivators, at least 7 or 8 were in the eternal realm, while the rest were at least in the heaven-seated realm. It wasn't until this moment that Ning Cheng truly felt the power of the blue-robed female cultivator. Cultivators kept falling under her bombardment, and Shui clan's territory turned into a complete mess. Even the cultivation grotto mansions and spiritual herbal gardens were blasted up into the sky. The magnificent buildings were riddled with ravines and the number of cultivators killed was uncountable. Ning Cheng somewhat understood what this blue-robed female cultivator meant. This woman had a clear distinction between gratitude and grudges. Knowing that she couldn't get out, she decided to use Shui clan's territory as a battlefield. Even if Shui clan managed to snatch the things from this female cultivator, they would suffer a great deal of damage to their vitality. In the mysterious Yellow Starland, Ning Cheng felt that Shui clan's approach was unwise. According to his thoughts, even if Shui clan wanted to scheme against this blue-robed female cultivator, they wouldn't be in such a hurry. They couldn't even wait for a night. In the deepest part of Shui clan's territory, Shui Guangxi sat in the middle of the room with a livid expression. Apart from Shui Guangxi, there were more than a dozen cultivators in the heaven-seated realm and above with angry expressions. Tai clan has gone too far. If this continues, my Shui clan won't have any bones left. A long-haired male cultivator in the life and death realm suddenly stood up, overflowing with murderous intent and overflowing with anger. Shui Guangxi took a deep breath and waved his hand at the long-haired man, Guangtan. Since things have come to this point, it's useless to be angry. The Tai family roped in others and used my Shui family's name to launch a sneak attack on that woman surnamed Yi. They clearly want to scheme against my Shui family and kill with a borrowed knife. The winner was king, and the loser was in the wrong. Preserving their strength was the most important thing. That woman surnamed Yi is too powerful. Even if the Tai family captures her, they will definitely be heavily injured. Then are we going to allow the Shui family to become the battlefield? If we continue to fight like this, our Shui clan's starry sky spiritual vein might not be able to keep it. Another Shui clan elder stood up and said. Shui Guangxi did not answer the elder's words. Instead, he spoke to Shui Wuchang, who sat on the side. Wuchang, leave the mysterious Yellow Starland immediately. Just remember my words and what I told you. After saying that, Shui Guangxi stood up. The rest of the Shui clan's cultivators in the life and death realm and above, follow me and participate in the siege. Remember one thing, when we besiege that female cultivator surnamed Yi, we must not let her target us. Everyone understood the patriarch's words, which was to preserve their strength and act according to circumstances. Ning Cheng hid on the side and saw Shui Guangxi rush out with 7 or 8 Shui clan's cultivators in the life and death realm and above. Seeing Shui Guangxi come out only now, Ning Cheng immediately understood that someone must have plotted against the Shui clan. Ning Cheng knew that Shui clan had obviously used a delaying tactic, so why would they suddenly launch a hasty attack? He also didn't know who planned this, but this person was skilled in using a borrowed knife to kill others. However, it couldn't be considered as using a borrowed knife. Shui clan had already planned to deal with the blue-robed female cultivator, but they had moved ahead of schedule. Dazzling lights from various weapons exploded over the Shui clan, and cultivators kept falling to the ground. Ning Qing retracted his spiritual consciousness. He knew that his current strength still fell short of an eternal cultivator. Once someone discovered him peeping from the side, they would only need to send an eternal cultivator to deal with him. That blue-robed female cultivator should have already suffered some injuries. Now that so many powerhouses besieged her, Ning Qing guessed that she might not be able to handle it. Ning Qing hesitated for a moment and decided not to stay here. He decided to help the blue-robed female cultivator. Whether it was from the perspective of the perpetual moon time key or Tian Muan's perspective, he should put in some effort. Thinking of this, Ning Qing quietly left the Shui clan. Muan, we might not be able to get away today. I was a bit careless. The blue-robed female cultivator once again shot out a few lightning bolts and killed a cultivator in the life and death realm before speaking up with a somewhat decadent tone. I'm sorry, big sister. I dragged you into this. If it weren't for me, your true spirit world wouldn't have cracked open after passing through positional planes, causing so many things inside to break. We also wouldn't have to come here to look for the sifting fairy grass. Tian Muan felt a bit of guilt in her heart. It was because she had stayed in her big sister's true spirit world that this situation had occurred. The blue-robed female cultivator shot out a few more lightning bolts and spoke with a smile, I obtained my true spirit world in the true cultivation world. It's not of a high grade, so it's fine if it cracked open. It's a pity that my spiritual consciousness was suppressed too much. Otherwise, if I could have taken out a weapon, these ants wouldn't have been enough in my eyes. Everyone, don't hold back. She's already an arrow at the end of its flight. Let's all bring out our most powerful attacks, go all out. An eternal cultivator suddenly shouted. But just as his voice fell, a lightning bolt pierced through his chest. Although the eternal cultivator suffered severe injuries after speaking, everyone understood that the blue-robed female cultivator really couldn't hold on for much longer. Just then, an explosion shook the entire Moi city, and everyone was startled by the sound. The blue-robed female cultivator's face immediately showed surprise. She grabbed Tian Muan beside her without hesitation and shot out a blue light, disappearing without a trace in a flash. A red-haired male cultivator with only one arm left roared, Who the hell blew open Moi City's ceiling array formation? What's the use of saying this? Hurry up and activate the mysterious yellow Starland Star Protecting Grand Array. Another cultivator roared. It's too late. With this person's speed, she should have already left the mysterious yellow starland by now. An early-stage eternal cultivator shook his head. He felt that he shouldn't have stepped into this muddy water. He was only at the early-stage eternal realm and still had a long way to go before reaching the full circle of the eternal realm. Even if this female cultivator was a Tao-confirming cultivator and above the eternal realm, he wouldn't get much benefit from it with his strength. Why would he listen to others and come here to fight for his life? In the end, not only did he fail to catch the fish, he even ended up with a fishy smell. Since someone helped that female cultivator blow open Moi City's array formation, it meant that this person didn't come here alone. Brother Guangxi, we're here at your invitation. Since your Shui clan has set up so many arrays, why didn't you seal off the star-protecting grand array in advance? A red-robed woman spoke up with a chilling tone. She was alone and an eternal powerhouse, so she didn't fear the Shui clan at all. Shui Guangxi's expressions turned ugly. He knew that he couldn't say that this was a plot by the Tai clan against the Shui clan. If he said it, it would be tantamount to falling out with the Tai clan. Not to mention that the Shui clan's vitality was severely damaged. Even if the Shui clan didn't suffer any damage, they still wouldn't be a match against the Tai clan. The Tai clan naturally couldn't seal off the mysterious yellow Starland Star Protecting Grand Array. Because to seal off the Star Protecting Grand Array, it would have to go through his Shui clan. The Tai clan had plotted against the Shui clan, so how could they let the Shui clan know about it? In a valley millions of miles away from Moi City, the blue-robed female cultivator stopped, her face pale to the extreme. "Big sister, how are you?" Tian Muan anxiously held on to the blue-robed female cultivator. The blue-robed female cultivator shook her head. "I'm fine. Muan, quickly refine this mask and put it on to change your aura. Otherwise, it would bode ill for you." After the blue-robed female cultivator finished speaking, she put on a mask. In just a few breaths, she changed from a young girl to an ordinary middle-aged female cultivator. Tian Muan took the mask and hesitated for a moment before asking, "Big sister, since we escaped from Moi City, why not leave this starland? Staying here might give us a chance to survive, but leaving the mysterious yellow starland." The blue-robed female cultivator didn't continue. Although Tian Muan was smart, her strength was still too low. Because she came from Earth, she still lacked tempering. If she took Tian Muan out of the mysterious yellow starland and entered the void, it would bode ill for them. The blue-robed female cultivator didn't continue, but Tian Muan understood what the blue-robed female cultivator meant. Her strength and experience were too low to survive in the void alone. Seeing Tian Muan understand her meaning, the blue-robed female cultivator spoke up, "Someone helped us open Moi City's Grand Array formation before, but I don't know who it was." "We don't know anyone here, could it be?" Tian Muan hesitated after speaking half a sentence. The blue-robed female cultivator knew who Tian Muan was talking about and shook her head, that Ning Xiaocheng's celestial wheels are in a mess, which means his cultivation shouldn't be too high. Using violence to open Moi City's Grand Array formation requires a certain level of array formation mastery. He is so young, so he definitely can't be an array formation expert. Besides, I've been to the place where he lived before, and the level of array formations there. The blue-robed female cultivator didn't continue, but Tian Muan understood what she meant. After Ning Cheng blew up Moi City's array formation, he immediately rushed out of the mysterious yellow starland. He didn't go far but stayed on the periphery of the mysterious yellow star, waiting for the blue-robed female cultivator and Tian Muan to come out. After an incense stick worth of time, the cultivators chasing after the blue-robed female cultivator finally came out. However, Ning Cheng didn't see the blue-robed female cultivator or Tian Muan. Ning Cheng understood that the blue-robed female cultivator hadn't left the mysterious yellow starland. Despite feeling helpless, Ning Cheng could only change his appearance into a fierce-looking starry skies wanderer and return to Moi City. Although he felt a little worried about Tian Muan, he also cared about the key. Back then, he had only wandered around the Sea of Twilight once before comprehending Sunset's twilight, obtaining time stones, twilight sand, and glimmers of dawn ice essence. The Temple of Time was the place where the perpetual moon Holy Emperor kept his treasures, so how many good things did it contain? Rong Wang spoke with caution, "Yes, my junior apprentice sister and I happened to pass by Moi City." Ning Cheng chuckled, "Within the starry skies, everyone is a friend. Come, let's have a drink." After saying that, Ning Cheng picked up the wine pot. Rong Wang and Sun Yu felt a little puzzled by Ning Cheng's familiarity, but they also picked up the wine pot and took a sip with Ning Cheng. "By the way, I don't know if the two of you have some free time recently. I came to Moi City to find a few friends to form a team and go somewhere. Since I just arrived in Moi City, I'm not very familiar with the place. Therefore, it's a bit presumptuous to ask this question. Please forgive me." Ning Cheng no longer hid it. Rong Wang spoke up apologetically, "I'm really sorry. Junior apprentice sister and I are going to the mysterious Yellow Temple and rest for a while." Ning Cheng initially thought that the mysterious Yellow Temple was a very secretive place. He didn't expect Rong Wang to say it out loud. He quickly asked, "What is the mysterious Yellow Temple?" Seeing that Ning Cheng didn't even know about the mysterious Yellow Temple, Rong Wang and Sun Yu felt stunned. Rong Wang quickly responded, I heard that a long time ago, the mysterious Yellow Temple was a relic of the mysterious Yellow Starland. But now, it's just an ordinary temple. Generally, cultivators who are ready to go on adventures or gain experience, as long as they're not far from the mysterious Yellow Temple, they would go to the mysterious Yellow Temple to pay their respects. Why is that? Ning Cheng asked in doubt. Rong Wang quickly explained, it's a spiritual sustenance. It said that cultivators who go to the mysterious Yellow Temple to pay their respects would experience a significant increase in their destiny. If Brother Cheng wants to go out for a task, you might as well go to the mysterious Yellow Temple. I have a jade strip here. While talking, Rong Wang took out a jade strip and engraved a few words on it before handing it to Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng took the jade strip and swept it with his spiritual consciousness. Sure enough, he found the words Mysterious Yellow Temple on the jade strip map of the mysterious Yellow Starland. Many thanks, Brother Rong. After thanking Rong Wang, Ning Cheng finished the wine in the pot and paid the bill for Rong Wang and Sun Yu before leaving the rest stop. Ning Cheng hadn't walked far from the small rest stop when he noticed someone following him. Therefore, he sped up and left Moi City. But Ning Cheng didn't expect that after he left Moi City, the person following him still followed him. Ning Cheng stopped, and a moment later, the cultivator following him arrived in front of Ning Cheng. This cultivator didn't look too old and had a celestial bridge cultivation. He had a well-defined face and looked quite handsome. He didn't seem to care about Ning Cheng discovering that he was following him. Instead, he cupped his fists towards Ning Cheng and spoke with a respectful tone, Senior, I heard Senior say that you wanted the nun to depend on wine in the rest stop. Is it true? Ning Cheng's face sank, so what if it's true? Don't tell me that you can get your hands on the nun to depend on wine. As far as I know, the Interdependence Chamber of Commerce controls the nun to depend on wine and doesn't sell it to the public. If you want to fool me with fake wine, heh heh. While speaking, Ning Cheng's powerful imposing aura rolled over. The cultivator following Ning Cheng was just a celestial bridge cultivator. Therefore, under Ning Cheng's powerful imposing aura, his face suddenly turned pale. Seeing that he had suppressed the other party, Ning Cheng retracted some of his imposing aura. The cultivator took a deep breath and spoke to Ning Cheng with a respectful tone, this junior can indeed get my hands on the nun to depend on wine. As long as senior believes in this junior and swears not to hurt this junior. Ning Cheng spoke with a calm voice, a trivial nun to depend on wine isn't worth me swearing. But I won't hurt a little celestial bridge cultivator like you. If you have something to say, just say it. Otherwise, I don't have time to waste with you. The celestial bridge cultivator, on seeing that Ning Cheng didn't seem to care much about the nun to depend on wine, gritted his teeth and spoke, Senior, this junior's name is Mo Wang. This junior's ancestor was the one who brewed the nun to depend on wine. However, the Zhu clan forcibly seized it. After destroying my Mo clan, they established the Mutual Dependence Chamber of Commerce. In fact, the original name of the nun to depend on wine was Mutual Dependence Wine. The addition of the Mo character is because this wine was brewed by my Mo clan. Ning Cheng couldn't see that this celestial bridge cultivator was lying. Therefore, he still spoke with a calm tone, I don't want to know about the matters between your Mo clan and the Mutual Dependence Chamber of Commerce. You have quite the courage to say such things to me. Aren't you afraid that I would send you to the Mutual Dependence Chamber of Commerce? Mo Wang spoke up with even more respect, this junior has been in Moi City for decades, but I couldn't enter the Mo clan's hidden wine cellar in Mutual Dependence City. This junior had already given up and was ready to leave Moi City. However, this junior didn't want to give up. Since senior asked about the nun to depend on wine, this junior decided to risk his life and give it a try. As long as senior can leave the Mo clan's inheritance to this junior doesn't want anything else. Seeing Ning Cheng remain silent, Mo Wang quickly spoke up, the Mo clan's wine cellar is located in Moi City. It also contains the recipe for my Mo clan's none to depend on wine. This is a spirit technique left behind by my Mo clan's ancestor. This junior is willing to give this spirit technique to senior, as long as senior engraves a copy of it for this junior. Okay, I agree. We'll act tonight. You lead the way. I'll say the ugly words first. After this transaction, I'm only responsible for taking you out of Moi City. I don't care about anything else. Ning Cheng finally made up his mind. Firstly, he really yearned for the none to depend on wine. Secondly, he wanted to see what kind of spirit technique this wine contained. Many thanks, senior. This junior only needs to leave Moi City. Mo Wang felt overjoyed and thanked him with a bow. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.